So welcome. Let's take care of the business while y'all get y'all drinks and your snacks, okay? Doesn't mean I'm gonna keep y'all here all night, but I like you to be comfortable when you're watching me, okay? I am on the block with Jen on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, on the block with Jen at Gmail. I'm on the block with Jen everywhere. Easy to find. Also on the block with Jen Cash App. If you are not gonna super chat me to help me keep the church lights on, then hit me at the Cash App, which I'm gonna throw up right now. If you're catching the replay, hi with your late ass. Look at you watching me and I'm no longer live. You got to be here live because it's so much more exciting. Not that the replay ain't good, but I'm just saying that when it's live, it's so much more exciting, right? So, guys, if you're not into this super chat, some people are, some people aren't, okay? You're catching the replay and you want to support the show, feel free to hit me, bam, right there. You see it rolling on the bottom? Do you see that? See that scrolling on the bottom? It says, buy me a smoothie. I'm at Cash App on the block with Jen. So I'm on the block with Jen everywhere, okay? And yes, mama got to keep the church lights on like any other church. And you know you get church when you come here, okay? All right. So I got my little protein. I was a little late because I was doing lots of paperwork for a gig that I'm doing, and I'm recruiting lots of people. So that's like 10 interviews a day till I get to like 30 or 40 people. So it's a lot of work. I'm not complaining because there's some people that wish they had work right now and they're still looking. So I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining to y'all that's why I was late, okay? I'm coming in my little muted gray tone. I hope you like it. I'm always giving y'all a lot of color. Tonight I'm in a gray mood, right? Tonight's topic, I think it's going to be juicy. Brother Ish mentioned something on last night's panel, and bear with me, okay? I'm a little tongue-tied. I've been talking to people all day, interviewing people all day, so I'm a little tongue twisted. Brother Ish made a mention last night about someone he knew, I think. I'm paraphrasing. He'll correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. But he did mention a guy he knew that was on his A game and a woman cheated anyway. His woman cheated anyway. Now, I wanted to explore that. Is being on your A game still not enough? Is a man's A game still not enough for women? Because, the reputation women have is we're never satisfied. We get bored easily, right? We're the first ones to feel unhappy in a relationship and the first ones to do something about it and the first ones to file for divorce. Statistically, that is what happens. Women feel unhappy. They're done with you. They file for divorce 75 to 80% of the time. You know me, I'm not the marriage girl. I encourage people not to get married, right? And not to have children because it's a fucking hassle, right? And it's like, people do it to themselves. I see nothing but miserable freaking people complaining about child support and all their children's and their marriage or their wife or their husband, just fucking miserable 50% of the time statistically. But that's not what tonight's about, right? Because I covered that on other shows. Tonight, I want to talk about specifically, is a man's A game still not enough? And some people may say, well, A game is relative. I'm in the, I'm in that vicinity. Someone may be able to sway me another way tonight, but I'm like, your A game is relative. This man's A game is not that man's A game, and your A game may not be what your girl is looking for, right? After a while, right? So we're going to explore that tonight. We're also going to explore balance. We're going to explore balance tonight, right? Because a lot of guys think that their A game is just spending a lot of time at the gym and they got all the muscles and they sexy, so that's their A game. Another guy's A game may feel like, nah, I'm making all this money, women should want me because I'm making all this money. That may be that guy's A game. But when you get with a woman, do you know what she wants? And is your A game enough for her? Is your A game still not enough? Now, I know some people watching. Hey, Lily, I see YB Limited in the building. Please hit the like button for me. Listen to Lily. Hit the like button for me. Hit the subscribe if you're lurking. It's fun here. I have the best panels ever. Okay, guys. So we're going to explore this. Now, with that said, I know some guys are going to read the topic and be like, is a man's A game still not enough? That's because bitches ain't never satisfied, right? We're going to hear some of that. I'm sure we're going to hear some of that in the chat and maybe on the panel. I don't know what my guys are going to say. But we're going to hear some of that. See, what I'm talking about. No matter what you do for a woman, it ain't enough, right? We're going to hear some of that, but we're going to explore it nonetheless, you miserable little bitter bitch. We're still going to explore it nonetheless, right? There's always something to learn. Just when you think you know it all, someone drops something, you're like, oh, last night, as a matter of fact, a lot of jewels were dropped by the guys. I appreciated their input. A lot of jewels last night. There's always jewels here. There's always some learning, okay? My panel is all stars. So I wanted to explore that, right? I wanted to explore that. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'm going to drop the link early. Let's talk about A games. And did you ever date or / marry somebody who was everything you wanted and lacked in another area and made you miss, right? Not having that, being in that relationship, and you were like, "Ooh, this person would be perfect if only if." Meanwhile, that woman or that man or whoever is thinking, I'm on my A game. So I know this person is happy. But were you sitting there looking at that man or that woman like, oh, if only they worked out, or if only they had more money, or if only they were more, they were more affectionate. If I know I've been in those situations. I've been in situations with guys that were amazing, that my friends were like, oh my God, he's amazing. But then I was like, yeah, but you don't know that he blah, 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 right? Even though he was a great guy. We'll get into that. You know what I mean? Now and then I give you a personal story. I'll share it tonight. Right? And from the outside looking in, he was on his A game, right? But then personally, there were things that were missing, in my opinion. So let's talk about balance as well, like I said. Virgo Smith, he said, if Prince got a divorce, I don't stand a chance. Men of color should bow before Denzel's feet. Honey, Virgo, no, men of color should bow before Pauletta's feet, Denzel's wife, because she's the one putting up with all the shit that man is. Now, we know Denzel the Great, okay? Denzel is the great. We know the iconic Denzel. But nobody knows what it smells like after that man uses the bathroom. Pauletta knows. Nobody knows if he has a wandering eye. No one knows if he's cheated. No one knows if he likes the crust cut off his sandwiches. Okay, Pauletta does. So we need to bow before her feet, darling. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm gonna drop the link and we're gonna get on up here. And tonight is let's tell some stories. Tonight's a storytelling night. I want you guys to as much as you can open up about your personal shit, because that's how other people learn. People don't learn from us capping. Okay, we up here capping like, no, my relationships were perfect and I was on my A game. She left me because she's a dirty bitch, or she a hoe, or she for the streets, right? I want us to pull away and detach from that defeatist, dope dunce mentality where everything happens to you, right? Nothing is your fault. The women that don't want you, they crazy. The woman that cheated on you for the streets. The woman that's, yelling at you, she ain't submissive. Let's get away from all them idiots online. Let's have some real talk. And that's why I am a fan of On the Block with Jen, okay? Not just because it's my show, because we have effectively shared stories here and learned from each other and shared some real shit, right? And when we're capping, you know what I mean? We check each other, we tap each other on the shoulder like, honey, no. So that's what I love about the show, and that's what you'll get from this show whenever you tune in. Don't forget the super chats, okay? All right. All right, guys. So I dropped the link. I'm dropping the link right now. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. Okay, my New York accent. Let's talk about it. And I had to drink this because I didn't even have time to have dinner. I'm gonna have dinner after we hang out. After we hang out, then I'm gonna go have dinner. Virgo clapping back. Virgo said he puts up with her poop and he'll crust too. that we should bow before both of them, right? But usually in those relationships, I find, and I said this before, when a man goes on stage and he wins his awards and he thanks his wife, there's a certain way a man thanks his wife, and he was on some bullshit. Okay, you just know. And I've heard Denzel's, award speeches plenty, and the way he just thanks his wife, right? You can always tell when a man is thanking his wife for putting up with a lot of bullshit. You can know there's some key words. And speaking of, there's this guy, you probably seen him or haven't seen him, but he's a Good Morning America co-host, TJ Holmes. It was just reported he had an affair with his co-host, Amy Robach or whatever, okay? Had a months-long affair, right, with this woman. And you've probably seen this guy before, TJ Holmes. You've probably seen him before. He has a very familiar face. He's on Good Morning America. Very, 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 I guess he's handsome. I guess he has the tall, dark, and handsome. I guess he qualifies. TJ Holmes. So anyway, long story short, the internet started interneting. And after it was found out he was having an affair for many, many months, they pulled some old ass picture and caption from his Instagram account where he's thanking his wife for being he called her a super Black woman powers. He was like, he's so happy that his wife had some super Black woman powers. And I'm paraphrasing, but he said it along those lines, you know what I mean, for basically putting up with him and everything he's done and blah, blah, blah. And let me tell you, those are key words. When a man is up there, thank you for putting up with me. I know I'm not the easiest person and blah, blah. You always know he was on some bullshit and he's thanking the doting wife who's usually a fucking doormat eventually. So the cat's out the bag with him, but it just goes along with so much that I said before, where it's like people are not monogamous. I don't even know why we're calling these affairs anymore. But I told y'all a couple shows ago, stop getting married, stop having children. Half of you won't make it. Then you're going to be divorced and miserable and paying child support or alimony or splitting money and ending up in a little apartment while your wife and them and the kids are in the house. So yeah, don't stop doing it. Stop. You guys keep having, children and getting married because you think that is what humans are supposed to do because we have reproductive organs. So it's like we're supposed to procreate. We got fingers. There's supposed to be a ring on here. These fingers, there's supposed to be a ring. That's what humans do. And then you end up fucked. You just do. So, unless you know that you are built for monogamy, and we know, I really, truly, wholeheartedly believe that people that are monogamous for real, they know that they are. They go into relationships and they're like, I know I'm a one-woman man or a one-man woman. They know. Others casually go into monogamous relationships knowing damn well that bitch is hot, that chick is hot, my secretary's a hottie. I miss my ex sometimes because she used to give me good head. I wonder what's up, big head. Same thing with women who are not naturally monogamous, but women are conditioned to want that ring and that wedding. So they go out and they do it, right? Because it's a rite of passage for women. It's like, I'm married. And it comes with a whole husband, right? Whose drawers you don't want to wash for the rest of your life. Once that shine is gone off that ring and no one's clicking like on that fucking engagement picture anymore, now you got a whole husband. So when I hear stories like this, where it's like such and such had an affair, such and such was caught in such and such's DMs and they married, because the majority of people are not monogamous, but they keep trying to force themselves. Like they try to force themselves to be monogamous. And it always blows up because the majority of people are not monogamous. I think it's a very tiny percentage of people that are monogamous, true and blue, and can only have eyes for one person. Yes, guys, y'all exist, but y'all are rare. You're the unicorns of the planet. The rest of us are thinking what that mouth do when we see somebody fine walk by, whether we're involved or we're not involved, right? People will be like, well, just because you're married doesn't mean you're not dead. Just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean you're dead. Just because you're with someone doesn't mean you're not going to find other people attractive. This is not that. Okay, let's not cap. We know exactly what we're talking about when we feel a sexual attraction to someone. Seeing somebody that looks nice or dresses nice or has nice hair or a nice mouth or a nice build is like, yeah, okay, that person is attractive, whatever, keep it moving. But that's not how the majority of people think. They think sexually, like, damn, she got a fat ass. Wow, he's tall. Oh, he has nice arms. That's how the majority of human beings look at other human beings. So if you're a naturally monogamous person, you can lock one person down and it's just you and them till death do you apart. Salute, because you are a rarity, darling. All right, look at y'all sexy anomalies out there, all monogamous and shit. But y'all are rare. Y'all are rare. That is all I'm going to continue saying. Gonna keep saying it. Stop getting married. Stop having children. Okay? It's much safer for you. And I feel more fulfilling if you stop getting married, stop having children. It is hell out here. Kids are hella expensive. Okay? Hella expensive. So Virgo is saying, give them the world isn't enough. Giving them the world's not enough, Virgo. You give a woman the world, that ain't enough. Those are the minimum. Roy Chess, what? Who? Roy Chess said, disagree, Jen. Here's a new spin. Many men show they value that woman by asking to be his wife. When a man does not value a woman, he will never ask for such. That's bullshit. That's a fucking lie. Do you know how many men get pressured into marriage? It happens every day, B. That's a motherfucking, that's a bold-faced lie. Men get pressured into marriage by women, okay? Now, are there men out there that are like, oh my God, she's the one for joy. She's the one I want to lock in. Rarely. Men get pressured into marriage. They've always gotten pressured into marriage, okay? Women have left men that they couldn't pressure into marriage, okay? Women are constantly pressuring men into marriage, okay? We've been engaged for 3 years, right? And the guy stalls it out as far as he fucking can. And then when he's finally there and he's like, okay, let's get married, what does he do? Him and his boys come out to Vegas and get a bunch of hoes to suck his dick for his last night free. That's how it works. That's the real world. That's how we're not capping tonight. We're not capping tonight. We're going to talk about the real world. No Disney tonight. Let's not Disney. Let's not Disney tonight. Let's talk for real, okay? We all have those male friends. Some of you are males and y'all been to those bachelor parties, all right? Where you're getting the special. The girl's not just dancing on you. She's taking the fucking, the groom in the back, all right? And riding him. Let's not act like that doesn't happen all the time. That to me is a man who is not monogamous, but he's going to try the monogamy thing and put this ring on this woman. But if on your last night free, quote unquote, now never mind, the man's not a virgin. He been fucking his whole life till he met that wife. His whole life he been fucking. But on, the week before he puts that ring on that woman, he got to fuck one more again. Okay, that is not a monogamous person. If you are the type of man that you feel like your bachelor party is going to be everything, you're going to be getting tits in your mouth and you can stick anything you want, you are not monogamous, sir. You are not monogamous, sir. And if you've been to any party, you men, if you've been to any party where a man did that, that man was not monogamous. That man was not monogamous. He's just doing the wedding marriage thing because, that's what human beings are supposed to do. They're supposed to get married and be stable and have children and a picket fence and puppies. But he is not monogamous, and that's why they fucking cheat. That is why they cheat. But men get pressured into marriage all the time. I have a friend personally who a woman wanted to marry. He was with her, okay? He didn't want to get married. She broke up with him literally. He was a cop. Literally, a couple months later, she was married to another guy. Why? Because women are looking for husbands, and any husband, well, any who's marrying me? I need to get married. My eggs are about to dry up. I'm on the clock is ticking or whatever. And women pressure men into marriage. Not men don't voluntarily go, oh my God, I wanted to, yes, that's what I want. Men are scared of marriage. The cold feet thing was coined for men who were nervous getting married on the day of, or turned, called off the wedding because they got cold feet. That was coined for men, because men are not comfortable. And I'm, gentlemen, if you're not comfortable and you doubt marriage, do not do it. You will regret it. You will regret it. How many times, what happened, Don Levon? All right, Donnie, see you in a minute. I should have had dinner before I got on. Yeah, how many times have we turned on, Discovery ID 2020 Dateline, and we've seen some man who killed his pregnant wife because he didn't want to deal with her or the kids. That's what I'm saying. Don't get involved. Don't get pressured. Don't get pressured into that. And usually the men, when you think about it, like the famous cases, those men that kill their wives, their pregnant wives, or their wives and their children, they usually are fucking somebody else already, and they got to drag the mistress in to take the stand and be like, yes, he told me he was going to break up with her. I didn't know he was going to kill her. Yes, that was me on the text messages sending him my tits. That's what happens. When the women go testify, that is what happens. Yeah, we used to meet 3 times a week, but he said he was leaving Penelope. I didn't know he was going to kill her and the children. That's what happens. Don't we watch those shows? Stop it. All right, let's get this party started. I see Damien in the back. Hi, Damien.
What's going on? What's happening?
How are you? Did you have a show last Tuesday?
I did not. I've been like traveling. I've been all over the place. So I've been like,
oh
no.
Show. Okay.
No. I've been like, it's been seriously. I've been not having enough time to like get it all together, because I don't want to half step it. I mean, I could, but then it's just like,
right.
And I had a panel, and then I got to get him time to jump on and all that shit. So
yeah, I totally understand. Trust me when I tell you. Totally understand. So. We're just at Matt. Yes, women pressure men because those men are not really filling out nuances. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, women pressure men all the time. Gentlemen, glad to see you here tonight.
My dog, what's up?
What's popping, Dave? How you feeling, homie?
Good.
So this is going to be a good one, because I already got some pushback where men are like, see, women are never satisfied. No matter what you do, you can be on your A game. Women never satisfied.
As I always tell you, Jenny, 2 things can be true.
You 2 things can be true. You want to fight early.
2 things can be true, Jenny. 2 things can be true.
I can take these off. So last night, Brother Ish had mentioned he knew a guy who knew a guy. I'm paraphrasing. I don't even know if he said he knew a guy or it was his experience or what the hell happened. But basically, a guy who's on his A game, quote unquote, and his girl cheated. And I argued, women don't just cheat. Women always have some sort of reason. As fucked up as you may think it be, it's always a reason. Really, where I feel like men cheat just because her ass was sitting right. Her ass was just sitting. What did you expect me to do, right? but women is like, my opinion, cheat because, damn, he talking that sweet shit in my ear. He's paying me attention. Right? He's making me feel sexy again. or he has money to do things that my man can't do. There's always some reason. There's always something that they're trying to supplement. Men cheat because her ass was sitting right. Y'all gonna deny that?
Not necessarily. That's not necessarily the truth. There could be moments. I know this sounds wild. This sounds like insane. But there could be a moment when a particular, let's say a coworker, actually gives you attention and actually makes you feel like a man. You know what I mean? And the moment you go home, you and your wife are just so emotionally disconnected and so on and so forth. There's such a cold, tense barrier in the house that you long for those days where you can sit down and have a comfortable and refreshing conversation with someone. You miss chemistry. You miss the attraction. You know what I mean? You miss a woman feeling you. You know what I mean, like that, and so on and so forth. Sometimes the passion, you know what I mean, leaves in a particular relationship. That happens. You know what I mean? But with that being said, yes, as I said before, two things can be true. You could have just seen a fat ass and went after it. You see how two things can be true?
No speaking English.
You know, Jen, you said something that was absolutely true early on in like I think in your monologue. It was like, I think what happens is people's A games are misaligned. Like you said, I think you need to be on her A game, because if you're on your A game, and other people may think your A game is A1, but she may think your A game is subpar. Like I've been in situations like I told you about the situation where me and the chick would like break up every weekend, and I saw her on TV dancing with Nick Cannon. Yeah, that was that kind of situation. Her ex dude played professional football, so I couldn't. That as far as the like financial aspect, I couldn't. I mean, you know, it was like growing up, I was like a prince of the city. Like I could get you in the club. You know, we never have to wait in line, sit at the table, we have drinks and all that kind of stuff. I knew everybody and blah blah blah. Everybody knew me. It was like norm. Yeah, it was like norm on Cheers. Like I walked in the club, they're like, "Damn, D, whatever." But remember, when Norm walked out that door, he was still a mailman. You know, so he wasn't like a boss. And that's the kind of the situation I was. It was like, you know, when I walked out of the club, like, you know, most of the time I was still just, for most of my life, I was still just the guy working at the manager of a Verizon phone store, you know. So it was just like, I think you got to make sure that no problem. I think you got to make sure that the A game is not misaligned, because like we're used to the A game being somebody who could like at a moment's notice take her on a trip somewhere or buy her something, or they go to like Houston's every night and eat like, you know, $80 steak. And that wasn't me at all. I was just, you know, the guy who, if he was in the club, it seemed like I was doing more than I was. But I really wasn't. When reality hits, you know, I was just an ordinary guy. So I think that's a lot of time.
Now you using that right there. It's a great example. I'm gonna get into a conversation I had today with one of my partners. We were talking about because for y'all don't know, I don't know if you guys know, but professionally I'm a software engineer. We make some pretty decent money. You know, we make some pretty decent money. And we were talking about the CEO of our company and so on. And we were talking about like, it's a different dynamic in a situation in a marriage if I lose my job as opposed to if he loses his job, if he's married. Now, if I lose my gig, you know what I mean, I might be out of work maybe for a month, because, you know what I mean, there's always a bag out there for somebody coding some shit. You know what I mean? You lose your gig, you can't necessarily just jump on LinkedIn and see who's looking for a CEO. You got to necessarily be really connected into what's going on. Also, he loses his gig, he's on the clock with his woman. He's on the clock for real, because it's like he might be in a situation where he might be like, "Hey, yeah, remember we usually go to Tahiti 3 times a year? Yeah, we might not be able to do 3. We might be able to do 1. We might." You know what I mean? And then he might say like, "Yeah, you know, that particular spa you usually go to, let's look for a different one." Now, when a woman is used to being pampered a particular way for a particular length of time, she gets used to that treatment. And when she gets used to that treatment, and you come into the door talking about, yeah, I'm not too sure if we can really continue that situation, that might be a problem. And here's where the A game argument comes in. Yeah, he might not be. He might be experience a downturn like all people do, all companies do. You know, I mean, he might be experiencing a downturn and might be preparing himself for certain situations, which is practical. But the woman don't want to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And she might be out the door before they turn the lights off in his home. You know what I mean? So in that kind of situation, it's kind of like when you're playing at such a high level, and there's high levels in that. When you're playing at such a high level, from a man's perspective, the higher the level, the more pressure it is to maintain the speed and the intensity of that game. Because when stuff slows down, everything around you tends to change. You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. So there, you know, you saying that you left because he wasn't on his A game, you know, he could have been experiencing a downturn and so on and so forth. And some guys, you know, I mean, when they experience these downturns, but they bounce back, they say, these are the reasons why I'm like, oh, yeah, she left me when I was down, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So that's a lot of the reason, you know what I mean, you hear that kind of, you know, rhetoric from those kind of dudes.
Roy Chess said something. I just want to say, he just said, why is de-associating game with money? I'm not saying I associated game with money. The person that I was with associated game with money and celebrity and stuff like that. So our A games were misaligned, because to everybody else, I was probably on my A game. But I'm saying to the person I chose to be with, I chose badly. And that person decided my A game wasn't good enough because of like money and status and stuff like that. I felt like I thought I was doing right, and other people before her made me feel like I was the shit, and I was doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Okay,
you know,
so
I just
say that being rich, being wealthy is A game. So that's why it can be associated. That's why it's just like if
I see it that way, but I'm a competitive person. Some guys don't.
Broke and you work out all the time and you look really good. I messed around with a personal trainer. His body was cut from the gods, diamond cut, but there was no conversation. And there sure as hell wasn't no money. But looking at him, if you saw that man in the gym, someone would say, yo, that dude's on his A game. His body's sick, right? But we were misaligned, like Damien said, like just nice to look at, nice to play with, poke at. But after that, then what? With that said, I would like to pass the mic to the beautiful Miss Polly. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you standing up. Okay?
Yes, I cammed up today.
Thank you. I appreciate
What's
you
up?
coming up, because these dudes are always hiding. Okay, sometimes I'm just up here with my lonesome and 5 boxes, and I'm just sitting up here like,
I got a third eye.
Wow.
I told you, Haran, you on borrowed time. I already told you. Once I hit 5K, ain't nobody coming up here without a face.
Yeah, you can't kick me out, man. I'm gonna hate from outside the club. I promise you, man. You can't do that to me.
You better get an avatar that moves or something. We need to be entertained. Miss Polly, what say you? But I got some pushback for Haran, but I want Miss Polly, I want you to go before I clap back.
Sure. Yeah, so thank you. But let's see here. The A game. I don't know. Like I've told you guys before, I just don't put my, you know, I don't put myself out there to fail in that situation, because everybody's A game is different. I think like society's kind of pushing that everybody is looking for the same person. We're not. Like you can't just say, oh, you got to have this much money, this much. Like we're not all looking for the same person. Or F that. We all don't need the same kind of person. F want them. You don't need them. Not everybody's made for everybody. And there are some big differences. Like you said, there are some people who like the small town feel. Why are you messing around with a basketball player trying to hook up with someone who wants to be an Instagram model? They're trying to run off to California. You're trying to stay in the corn. It doesn't make sense. You're setting yourself up for failure when you get into those kind of relationships. I think or a really, really tough time and a lot of negotiation at the least. but is the A game for a man? I mean, yeah, a lot of times the society now, I think even just like Instagram, all these kind of social media has been pressing that money is what we should be looking for in our men. So if you're not making a certain amount of money, then you're worthless. That's just crazy to me. And unfortunately, America was built that way. If you do not have money, you are worthless, and they keep pressing that on everyone. And the thing is, there are people out who are artists who make beautiful art that you could just be, oh, so wonderful. They, the trash man. I know that sounds stupid. Okay, let that trash man not work in our city. Okay, we will be asking, you will be praying a trash man comes out of somewhere and be your savior. So I think it's just the way we deem what is valuable. It's just really misconstrued. And there are a lot of people who have lower jobs. They don't make as much. They're very valuable people. Teachers are very valuable people. We don't pay them a lot. So not all teachers all male teachers aren't good. Like, I think it's not enough. I don't like the A game thing. And you're right, it isn't enough. My answer is yes, it's not enough because everyone else says it's not enough. You're not making enough. You have to make this amount of money or you're not good enough, for men at least. I just don't think that's really a good standard we should have for anybody. And it kind of goes for the women too. The opposite. If you don't look a certain way, if you're not hourglass shaped, if your ass ain't big enough, if your titties ain't big enough, if your lips ain't big enough, if you ain't got 8,000, you ain't good enough. If you ain't submissive enough. I'm just saying, like, hey, Lord, like
8,000 ain't that bad.
You're not enough, okay? Oh, I can't date a girl who ain't gonna let me hit the back of her tonsils. Like, Lord, like, okay, what's happening? I have a sore throat today. Can I still be valuable to you? Like, it really, come on. I think we gotta do better. We gotta do better and change our value system a little bit.
No, Saint.
Well, I guess I'm a shallow ass nigga because the Glock is a must for me.
Hello.
What's up, No Saint? What you got?
I'm trying to get tips on how to get my game up, so I'm kind of listening. But
You need some A game. Where you at? You at B?
Oh man, I'm lucky if I'm C plus. But I think Polly makes a lot of good points. Although she gets 2 C games, or she gets a B and a D minus to get her A game dues, right?
This is all lies. This is all lies.
She's getting different qualities from different people. So I mean, maybe she doesn't need a guy with a game, but but anyway, no, I was just listening. I mean, yeah, definitely. I hear what everybody's saying, and I do agree with Polly that I mean, it is very subjective on what A game is. She's talking about the money side of it, like not for her, money may not be as big of a deal as another woman would say. Well, that's higher on her list. You know what I mean? I mean, be honest, the women I've dated, money wasn't necessarily, and it was kind of strange because, like, money wasn't like, well, I don't know how strange it was, but money wasn't the number one priority. And like you said, Jen, I mean, if money is your first priority, that's only gonna take it so far anyway. There's got to be more to it. It's just that's why we're saying yesterday about the A game thing. It's like you may be strong in one part, but you may be weak in another. So I don't know if there really is that perfect person that checks all the boxes. You kind of, when you're in a relationship, have to say, okay, this person, I have this and this I like, and maybe there's some things you don't like about them, or maybe there's something that is like you'll accept some things, but then other things you can say, okay, that's a no-go. I can't deal with that, and then you get rid of them or whatever in a relationship. But yeah, I mean,
did we lose you, No Saint?
No. I'm just looking. I'm making sure I'm staying on topic.
Dramatic pause.
No, because sometimes sometimes I wander around. I'm saying, am I on the subject?
That's okay. We'll pass the mic.
Okay.
The reason why I like dating a man of means, right, is because shit happens, right? You have arguments, you have little quirks, you have things that you're not gonna like about the other person, right? And somehow money, in my opinion, makes everything more tolerable. And I think that men don't realize how much truth there is in that. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be a millionaire, billionaire. That's nice too. But I'm saying no matter who you get with, whether it's the postal worker or the garbage truck guy or the rich guy, there's going to be times where you can't stand him, right? But when you're with somebody with a man of means, you cannot stand him in Hawaii.
The views are better.
Very good point.
When you're dating the garbage man, and garbage men make good money, but when you're dating the regular guy who's doing the regular thing, like them problems are a little more magnified, in my opinion, right? But you know, he's like, if a man could say, "Look, get out my face, go with your girls, go to Miami. I don't want to deal with you." I'd be like, "Fucking fine, I'm fucking packing," and then I'll come back. I just find that more appealing. I did lots and lots of broke guys. Like that was the norm for me. I was the savior. I was like, "Oh, you could get a pretty girl. It doesn't matter." It was so bad. Let me tell y'all a story, because y'all know I got fucking stories, but I'll go through it quick. I was dating a guy who was always doing some sort of odd job. Always like he was the type that would walk into TGI Fridays and then end up working at TGI Fridays that day. Like he would walk up, finagle the manager, and then he was working TGI Fridays the next day. He could walk in anywhere and get a job. He just couldn't keep a job, right? You get a job, you couldn't keep a job. And he had a job where if you look at the CVS or the Walgreens or the Rite Aids, whatever state you live in, when you go to the counter, there's cigarettes on the wall lined up, right? I don't know if they still have those. I don't check for cigarettes anymore since I stopped working cigarettes. But there's a whole wall of cigarettes. He got a job as the person that would go in, take out the old cigarettes and stack the new cigarettes, right? But the job, lucky for him, didn't require someone being on his back. They were kind of like independent contractors in a sort of kind of way. So I was like, well, can you take somebody to help you? Because the more stores he did, the more money he would get. And guess what Jen did? Because I'm such a good girlfriend. I was like, I'll go with you and I'll help you stack cigarettes. And then you'll hit more stores and we'll make more money. Right? So when someone tells me that, oh, you just want a man for money, fuck off, okay? Because I used to be the type of girl that was like, no, you're living in a tent. Come to my house. I have a bed and everything, and you can take a shot. Like, so I've been through so much trying to be like, you know what I mean, the Captain Save a Hole or the Captain Save a Pookie. So now it's like, no, I want the vacations. I want the money. I want you to be in a nice car. Again, you don't have to be wealthy, but I loathe the struggle. I loathe it. I loathe it now with a passion.
I will say this.
Can we say there's a line then? Because I think
that's what I was going to say.
There's got to be a line. Like, let's say, like if someone's like not losing their job every 3 minutes, but like someone like they maybe had a tough time and then they're like going into something and then they go. I'm not talking about consistently, because I am like that. I'm like, okay, I don't care if you work at Walmart. You've been at Walmart 15 years. Hell yes, I'm good. Okay, I've got no issue. But if you out here running the streets and you've been in and out of jobs every 3 months and you don't have a consistent paycheck and you're not trying to do well for yourself, that's a problem. I think I start focusing on like, just, can you take care of yourself? Like, fuck me. Can you take care of you? And then if you can do like really take care of yourself, like a human should, like you shouldn't be not able to take care of yourself, then I'm okay. Like I'm not gonna die because I know you are going to try to do that. That's like something you just have or you don't have. So I don't date guys who don't have jobs, but
I'm gonna answer Nak Meezy. He said, "What's up, Nak Meezy in the building?" He said, "What are you bringing besides looks?" That's all I got, honey. That's all I got. I'm at the table. I'll look good in a bikini for you. I'll look good in a gown at the gala. I'll look good when you bring me home to your parents. That's all I got, honey. At this age, where I am in life, that's all I got for you. That's it. Sorry.
At least she's got that, you know.
Listen,
it's funny
by that question. I'm not even insulted by that question because listen, I am summa cum laude graduate of being the ride or die chick. I got out the car. Now I just got looks for you. Okay. Now I'm a very doting girlfriend. Okay. I mean, you could bounce ideas off of me. I'm gonna have your clothes picked out because you probably can't dress as good as I can.
Facts.
I got a lot of swag. I'm from New York, so I'm gonna make sure you look dipped all the time. I will cook, I will clean, but that's all. I just got looks. That's it. That's all I got for you. That's all.
That sounds good.
It's funny because it's like when you're in a situation like just kind of going back to the situation I was in where you feel like, you know, people are trying to make you feel like your A game ain't enough. I think you can do one or two things. You can use that as motivation and say, you know what, I'm gonna step my shit up. The circles I run in, there's a different level of expectation. So I need to either fall back into different circles that kind of fit where I am better, or I can try to level up. You know, and I was like, I think I'm gonna level up because I used that initially as my motivation because it was like I never wanted to feel like I felt, you know, in that situation. Like I'm always like, any minute this shit could fall apart. I just want to be the dude. But then, you know, the motivation just became organic. Where I was just like, I'm just gonna do what I got to do, learn what I got to learn, put myself in a position to do better. And the funny thing is, I end up getting with a woman exact opposite, where that's not even, she would have been happy with the dude who was managing the Verizon wireless store, you know, but you know, it still put us in now, you know, she gets to enjoy the benefits of that level up or what have you. And the person I was with, you know, I hear she kind of down bad. So, you know, so sorry for you.
So petty.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Damien.
Nakmeezy trying to cover me. Nakmeezy trying to cover me. He said, laugh my ass off. You and every other baddie. No, trust me. Them baddies and Instagram baddies can't do what I do. Trust me when I tell you. Okay, I've doubled many pocket. Okay, I can double. I can.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right.
She went to go do it. She went to go do whatever.
Pick somebody off. Yeah, go double that pocket.
It got real.
She went to go double that pocket.
She went to go double that pocket.
You went to go double somebody's pocket.
No, it's like I know women that are just pretty and they just, you know, some arm candy. I come with a lot more than that. But I'm just saying, I'm not busting my ass to do a 50-50 with a man. I'm just not doing it.
But you know what? That gentleman who just said that, he's probably one of those gentlemen who says that in the same sentence and then turn around and be like, well, women shouldn't have to do anything but just be submissive to me. So basically you're asking her to come to the table with nothing anyway. So why are we complaining?
That's a good point.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've heard Nakmeezy. I don't know if you want to pick that fight.
I listen, I don't want a piggy fight because I already served 2 tables. I'm grilled.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, he's not that guy. From what he was saying the other night, I don't think he's that guy. But he put Big Truck into retirement, evidently.
I know Big Truck disappeared after Nakmeezy.
Was
he hurting people's feelings? I hurt no one's feelings like that.
It was a combo of what Nakmeezy did and then me dropping him from the panel probably. And I say he was welcome back. I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't freaking banish him from.
Did you have to ask me something, Jen, before you forget? You said
yes.
You wanted to push back?
Yes. You said that a man could be at a job and maybe the woman at the job is just making them feel like a man again. But I'm like, first the fucking all, Haran.
Oh, Jesus.
There had to be some.
This is how we argue in the DMs, y'all. Here we go.
Okay, pero there had to be some sort of attraction first. Why does that woman have that much access to you to even make you feel like a man?
It's an open office. Like you maybe bump into at the copier. You probably see her at the coffee machine, or you see her at the door. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, this is why y'all get cut. Then
Oh
don't
my
look at us
Jesus Christ.
like we're
Oh my
crazy.
God,
This,
Jen. Oh my God.
why?
Jen,
I don't care if it's an open office. Gouge your eyes out before you look at another
Oh
woman.
my God, man. Oh, okay, sugar.
Jen,
It's probably is like, what is she talking about?
Oh.
He's like, no, free love. Share, Jen, share. Share these stab wounds.
Listen, Jen, you already agreed that you would be sharing if you had two. You would love both of them and you'd be fine. So your sharing's fine. You'll be fine. You're just gonna share out.
Yeah, I could share if it's two guys. I could share.
Oh my
so
God.
Jen, I think it's fair. It's fair for us to say when it comes to a woman looking at a man that they should have a means. Not, I don't think what you're saying or what all or many women don't think. Okay, the man has to be like rich, but there is an expectation that you're going to be able to kind of handle your business and not rely on her to have to come in. Especially if you're going to have a family and you're going to get married. There should be an expectation. I believe that if you look like, that's why if you're a really good looking woman and you grown up in, say, like a trailer park somewhere, I mean, you can marry out of that and probably will marry. You're not going to marry the trailer guy, especially, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sure some, not all, right? But, I think I hear this a lot when it comes to, like, I think if men had that option, we just don't have that option. We take it too. If you told me that there was the female Bezos out there and I had a shot to marry into that, and okay, not very good looking, but hell, man, got billions of dollars. Hell yeah.
I mean, if I was 28 and Oprah would have been like, "You the man," I'd have been like, "I'm the man."
Right.
I'm the man.
I rub those bunions.
Nothing
I mean,
wrong
come
with
on.
that.
I do.
There's
I'm the
nothing
man.
wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Glenn Lawrence, welcome to the panel. I do want to get into what Brother Ish said. This woman cheated and the guy was on his A game. Why is it that men think that if they excel in one department, then that woman should be satisfied with him excelling? Mostly, I pay all the bills. I come home. Don't bother me when I'm watching this football. I'm at my A game. What else do you want from me? They go into the Tyrese. What more do you want from me? Right? I'm still sticking to women don't just cheat, and women sure as fuck don't cheat on a man that's on his A game. There's something lacking. There was something lacking. What do you think, Glenn?
Well, I think it's a communication problem, for one. If he is under the assumption that he's on his A game and she's not telling him, no, you're not, you're on like your C game or your B game, then she is misleading him. She's allowing him to believe a false truth by not correcting the statement, So I do think there's some ownership there. Like, hey, if there's lack of communication, if you're not communicating with him, telling him where he's slacking, then you're letting him believe that he's something that he's not, then you're setting him up for failure. That's one. Two, he could be full of himself and not see past his own nose. There's some people that are just super arrogant that don't think their shit stinks. And every time you bring up a flaw, they're like, nah, that's not me. You're just seeing things. Those guys, those people, men and women, you just can't help. So I think sometimes when you get these situations, the guy may be under the impression that he's on his A game, and she's not telling him that he's not. So when she does step out and cheat, he's like thrown for a loop. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm on my A game, so that could be a factor. That could be a factor. Now you're right. If the guy is on his A game, whatever that is, but his A game has to also be the A game that she envisions, that she desires, that she is comfortable and wants. So, and see, understand that like that could change. Her A game may be what you have today, but then you might take her out somewhere and she sees somebody with a whole different A game, and all of a sudden is attracted to that A game. And that's called hypergamy, and that's understandable because that's women's mating strategy, is to, you know, go after the best, most qualified resources available. They want security, they want provision, they want to know that if when they have kids, that those kids are going to have the things that they need provided for them for long life. So that's why a lot of women will end up, you know, passing up on the hot dude who just all you got is hotness. Like, he's fun for a ride, but you're not fun to go stay with him, because that security is more important innately. You need that more important. So that's why I think, like, you know, you see more women that tend to step out than, you know, more than they did before, is that because they're not getting those needs met. They're not getting that alpha guy that really gets them going. At the same time as finding that provider that's able to take care of all the provisions at the same time. Like, they're not finding that same guy all in one. So I think that's part of the, you know, issue.
Nagmeezy saying, Nagmeezy is saying, my A game is self-improvement. Basing your A game on a woman's input is weak shit.
I'm not saying you're basing it on, I'm not saying you have to base it on her opinion. I'm saying that, one, you live in your frame. Your A game is what you're going for. You have to make sure that she adapts to your frame, that she lives within your frame. So if she lives within your frame, that means she also accepts your A game as the A game that she wants. So I'm not saying you have to go to her and ask her, like, hey, is my A game okay? No. But she has to want to accept it.
You need to recognize too, though, if the A game that she's been playing, that she's been used to, is significantly higher than yours, that there may be a problem. Like, you can't date, you can't go to, like, you know, a woman who's been dating multi-millionaires, and then you work at Target and think, oh, she's going to be fine with my A game because I'm assistant manager, you know, with benefits. That's going to work. You just got to know that you got to know which pool you're swimming in. Right. To know if your A game is going to be acceptable or not. I think a lot of cats think because they're able to attract somebody for whatever reason, that they're going to be able to retain them. With some, if they really understand where the person is coming from, you know. And I think that's what I know that, and a lot of cats have experienced that.
Miss Polly has to go, so Miss Polly has to go. So I wonder if she has any final thoughts, or you just gonna bounce, Mama.
No, I will. Yeah, I'll just want to let you guys know. I know you guys can keep going and get a little deeper, but yeah, I think it's just like you said, like, there's somebody meant for you. If it's not one person, it might be two. If you find those people in your life, it might be three. Whoever it is, you'll find that person, and just make sure you're matched right. So you guys should listen to this gentleman. They know they're on the right track here. So if you're looking for information, I think they're gonna give it to you tonight. So
thank you, man.
Thanks, Polly.
All right, I'll see you another time. Bye.
I think it lends to Jen's point earlier when she said that the relationship starts after the new car smell wears off. And, you know, in the beginning, everyone is attracted to each other, blah, 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 so on and so forth. You're filled with lust, yada, yada. But after, you know, I mean, you get over all that, you're dealing with a woman who probably, to Damien's point, is used to a particular lifestyle that at the moment you can't provide. Or it could be either A, at the moment you can provide, or B, you just can't provide, period. You just may not have the skill set, the acumen to pull that off. And that's okay. That is okay, because you save yourself from maybe a year or two of, if it lasts that long, of frustration. Both of you save yourself from frustration with those women, you know, with that woman, because you said, hey, look, listen, this ain't my speed, man. This ain't my speed. You know what I mean? This a little bit too much weight to put on my shoulders, either for right now or period. I need to go where I know I can excel. And again, that's okay. I think that all men should be honest with their capabilities. You should know your limitations as a man, you know what I mean? And you should understand your potential as a man, and you should move forward in terms of what kind of relationship you can see yourself in.
And I think you gotta be
really quickly, okay. David, let me thank Meezy for the super chat. He said, Malta, India, media. You really gotta be from New York to understand that. That's just
pretty
funny.
Much.
I wish I could get a Uchipito and a Malta India right now, but I'm on the West Coast, and let me tell you, it is not the same. It is not like back home. It's not like back home. Like every Puerto Rican restaurant here sucks ass. I'm like, who's cooking this shit? But you know, when I go back to New York, trust me, I will get that cuchifrito and that Malta India, not Goya, not the Goya. So what were you gonna say, Damien? Because I do have a question for you guys. But what were you gonna say?
I was saying, I think the first thing to help dudes with this is just number one, put your ego to the side, because a lot of cats will be like, "Oh, she was messing with blah blah blah. Oh, I'm a bagger," and and then they do a lot of fronting to try to get her, and then they have to do a lot more fronting to try to maintain it because they think it associates with and that goes to that I think I was telling that mimetic. It's actually mimic desire, not mimic attraction. I got it. Mimetic attraction, where they feel like if somebody is with somebody or attracted with somebody at a higher status, they automatically feel like they have to get them or they have to show that they're on the same level as them by bagging them. I think a lot of cats put themselves in trick bags like that and say like they know this girl how she's been getting down, but they put it out there that they're on that level and they really not. So I think you need to kind of like put your ego to the side and really try to either be comfortable where you are, because there's whatever level your game is at, there's somebody who's gonna rock with it if you're a solid cat.
I think that's what happened with, and we're just for shits and giggles, let's assume tonight. Just for shits and giggles and fuck with the celebrities for a minute. But I think I see that with Michael B. Jordan and the whole Laurie Harvey thing, where Laurie Harvey was dating like the big players, right? You got the Diddy's and the Trey Songs and the what the fuck is his name? The rapper with all the babies, Future, right? So she's dating all them popular, you know what I mean, rich dudes. And Michael B. Jordan like, yeah, but I'm that guy though. You know what I'm saying? And I'm good looking and everybody wants me. So I know I could bag that. And then wah.
Well, you know what I mean? Again, you know what I mean? To Dame's point, yeah, sometimes, you know what I mean, dudes get a little wrapped up in their own egos and, you know, life tends to hit you. Look, I'll just say this right here. You know, nobody is above the game, man. I don't care what dude, I don't care what guy tells you what, man. You know what I mean? The most high-end dude that been played, the most high-end dude that been, you know what I mean, dumped, blah, 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 so on and so forth. No one is above the game. And I think that, again, you know, a lot of men, before they go out there and really get their feelings hurt, you know, and get embarrassed, you know what I mean, they really need to sit down and understand what their capabilities are. What pool are you in, man? What are you really working with? Like, you know, I can lust after, you know, women who are used to a particular lifestyle that only millionaires can produce. I can lust after those women. I can't provide that kind of lifestyle that they want. I can provide a pretty good night, but that's pretty much outside of my wheelhouse. After that, like,
yeah,
outside
you
of
get to smash, take the win.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. After that, I'll be like, sugar, this is it. This is all I got.
So yesterday,
be real about it.
Last night, I thought the conversation went really interesting, right? Because we spoke about the A game, but we also spoke about men aren't taught certain things. They're taught to get that A game, get that money, get that job, right? But I don't think men are taught balance, right? So when they are, let's say, wealthy and the woman cheats, he's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm rich. Why are you cheating? Or like, if he's good looking, they're like, what the fuck? I'm strong. I thought women liked strong men. Or, you know, I'm attentive. I thought women liked, you know, men that were attentive or sensitive. I don't think that, it seems to me sometimes that men are all over the place with the idea of what they think women want, and they just giving it their best go. But, you know, if you're at your A game financially and no one's taught you balance, don't you think that men ignore balance? Women like a lot of shit, not just money. Right? So why is it that men aren't taught balance, but you know it because you say, I want a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. So you know balance, but for some reason men aren't good at bringing that balance. They're thinking money, 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 money. Get these kids to college and money, 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 money. Who's
I
teaching
mean,
y'all that?
it may not seem it, but it's to a lot of cats. It's easier to make money than to be that self-aware and to try to like. It's easier. Seriously, because you don't have to be. If you got enough money, you can be as oblivious as you want to be. It's when you ain't got no money, you got to be real self-aware of what your situation is.
Ain't that the damn truth? Like, look, listen, man. When I was broke, like I have a hell of a sense of humor. Okay, I crafted that when I was broke. You know what I mean? I needed to be very interesting. I had no car. I had a whole, I didn't have a lot of things. In order to basically score with women, I had to be interesting, funny, and I played the shit out of a fucking guitar. So, you know what I mean? There were some attributes that they could fucking work with. You know what I mean? I was not delusional about who I was and what I brought to the table. You know, that's another thing. You know what I mean? A lot of guys are delusional. But Jen, we spoke about this already. Remember when I said, if you take away, this is one of the reasons why a lot of brothers are having problems right now. Because when you take away like the financial need that most women don't necessarily have to cling to as much as they clung to 30, 40 years ago, a number of the things that they don't necessarily have to cling to, when you have to be more than just what your grandfather was or what your father was, a lot of dudes are really kind of stuck on stupid because they never really sat down and really learned that. And what's fucked up is that they don't necessarily have a point of reference because guess what? Your grandfather and your father never really had to sit down and think about it. Like, so what you mean, boy? She ain't pull up the moment you rolled up in that Porsche. What's wrong with her? You know what I mean? And so they can't give you that much advice. So a lot of brothers, a lot of men, period, are out here kind of figuring it out, flying blind, and hoping that they just get lucky. Now, my thing I always tell these young brothers, man, you got to sit down alone with yourself, man. You got to ask yourself the hard questions, deal with your demons, ask yourself who you are outside of women, away from women, away from your boys, away from everyone, because there's going to come a time in your life when you're alone, man. And the only thing you have are your wits, your resilience, and so on and so forth to get you out of whatever hole that you might fall in. And if you grow up with a dependent mindset, you're going to be fucked in this world as a man. I tell you right now, man, you're going to be fucked in this world as a man because any man who consistently has a dependent mindset never truly lives up to his own potential.
Glenn, what do you think about men not being taught balance or knowing balance and thinking, well, the bag is the way to the woman, period?
So, okay, so we are living in an era for men that is like a new, new rules. There's a new era of new rules. Okay. But we are still teaching men old rules from the old world era and expecting them to know how to do those old rules and live by those old rules and thinking that those old rules will work. So it's like, you know, the game has changed. Society, the dynamics have changed. The things have changed in the culture and in our society, that those old rules are now outdated. So before, all guy had to do was really just get the bag. You know, like how he treated her, how he, you know, his vulnerability or whatever you want to call it, his emotional availability, it's a thing, or, you know, his compassion, or, you know, how he really just was. If he wasn't a good partner or a good husband, that was less of a requirement back then than it was. He could provide the family what we need. I have all the things that I need met. I'm grateful just for that. But now we live in a time where women don't have to be just grateful for the bare minimum. We live in a time where women can supply their own bare minimum. And with that, and since the teachings of men have not changed, You know, men, there's a lot of guys that still believe in the whole Disney-esque fairy tale where, you know, you got to be the knight in shining armor and you got to, you know, go out there and rescue her. And if you rescue her, she's going to love you for the rest of your life and you're going to live happy ever after. That's not true. You know, the whole, you know, belief of your one true love, that's not true. I mean, how many of us have been in love and broken up and then in love again? Like, I mean, that shows you there's been a lot of different loves, right? So there's no one true love, but that's what they still being taught. And so they still have that mindset and they still have that old order worldview. When they're trying to operate in the new world, they're obsolete. They don't function. It's like, you know, they can only do so much before the programming crashes. There's not enough, you know, hardware or not enough programming in their old system to be able to compute all the new information that's coming at them. So they get kind of stuck. And nobody, see, here's the thing. It's better for women at times to just have guys think that that's the way that's supposed to be played than it is to actually tell them, like, no, this is not, the game has changed. Because think about it. If they think that the way that they're playing or things that they're doing is the what they should be doing and how they should be focused on, then, you know, they're not going to really learn anything. Therefore, that they could always have them where they want. They want them focused on the money. They want them focused on the bag. If that's what they want from them, that's it. But like I said earlier, women are not finding the qualities, all the qualities that they want in a man, in one man today. You know, they have that alpha guy who fits the criteria for those, you know, hot, sexy times. And then they find, you know, a guy that's not good looking, but, you know, he's a sweet, kind guy. He could provide. They're not finding both of the things in the same one.
What do you think about this advice here? Virgo Smith says, one tip I can give is pick women your age.
I really don't think age is a factor. I mean, as long as they're not a minor and you're doing some R. Kelly shit, like as long as you avoid that, you know, no PPing on people. I mean, think about it. But you know,
I like it and they're of age.
Hey, if that's your kink, do your thing. You know, but there is an age limit. You know, I think, you know, for guys, like you could date somebody within 10 years of your age, lower. You know, I think the sweet spot is about 7 years. And that's statistically, I could pull up some research on that, but they, you know, guys tend to date anybody between 7 to 10 years younger, but beyond the 10 years, I think you're going to go through a real hard time connecting with that young person. And women always like the older gentlemen too. Why? Because they're more secure, they're more refined. You know, they're not this young Thundercat, you know, still not very, you know, that's immature. So I think age does play a factor at a certain point, but I think what's more important than age is values. Okay, so you need to make sure that whoever you're dating or, you know, wanting to inquire dating on, you guys have the same values, have the same worldview. I think that's really important for any relationship, is that the foundation, the principles of what your relationship is going to be built up on is the same.
So Glenn, that would change dating entirely, because I do agree that some women are like, I'm not gonna build this guy up. He has a good job, he makes good money, you know what I mean, he's attractive, I'm cool on that. But women like balance, and some women are not going to talk about balance because they're going to get, you know, they're going to take what they can get from a man. But that would change dating entirely. Like the beginning, let's say it's a first date, you're out to dinner, then the conversations should be different. The conversation shouldn't be like, oh, okay, you're expecting a guy to provide. So then women also have to communicate that, no, I'm going to need this too, and this too, and this too, because I can do this on my own. It's great that you make money, but I would like to see these other things. So then conversations have to change. Like our communication has to change, because a lot of men are coming to the table, well, I make 6 figures or a good 5 figures, so that should be enough, you know, for this little woman, and I'll dick her down, you know, 3 times a week, and that'll be enough, and she'll be happy, and I'll take care of these kids. But it's not enough. It's not. And it's unfortunate that it's not enough, because life would be easy for men if it was enough. But it's obviously not enough if 75 to 80% of women are saying, goodbye, I'm done with you. And this whole thing, this provider protector thing you're doing, I'm cool on that, I'm out. right? So it's not enough. So we have to change the communication.
Yeah,
Jen, I want to ask you a question.
There's a little bit.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask you a
Go ahead.
question related to something that you said. Like in that situation where, she's like, okay, he's got this, he got this, he got that. Do women do a type of like relationship math in their head? Like, okay, he's 5'10", but he makes, 120,000. He's not really a good conversationalist, but he's fun and can tell a great joke or whatever, or he's adventurous. Do they do kind of that when the mental math early on, and then when it gets into the relationship, they realize that other shit that they want is important. So then they start saying, you know what? I should have never sacrificed that because now I'm searching for that and I'm missing that. And I don't know if I want to fuck with this dude no more because he ain't got those things.
Yes.
Yeah. What they do is they try to convince themselves that, these we're just gonna call them beta and alpha qualities. These are just container words, okay, guys? They're just we're using them as container words.
Mm-hmm.
What women tend to do is that they see that there's this, beta guy, and that he checks off so many things off the list, except the alpha qualities.
Mm-hmm.
And what you guys do is you guys try to convince yourself and rationalize that you can make that work.
Mm-hmm.
You can make that work. Like, he's hitting everything else but this. I mean, looks fade, right? You end up telling the stuff in your head, and you're like, I can look past that, like I shouldn't be that shallow. And then what ends up happening is that once you get to the point when you realize you cannot really convince yourself on what you are truly attracted to and what you truly desire, what ends up happening is that you realize the things that you really do desire do kind of are more important or just as equally important as the things that he also provides.
Man. So let me give you a short story. Short, no pun intended. I dated this guy who was short. Okay, and I'm talking about short. I'm not talking about like 5'8", 5'9". He was at least 5'5". He was a short guy. And I did the math in my head, like Damon said. I'm like, wow, this guy's tiny, but he's really fit. I also don't like men physically who wear little clothes, right? But I was like, I guess I could fucking iron those little pants eventually.
You didn't tell me that part of the story.
Right? So, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, check this out. Check
for the baby gap.
Listen, stop with the little shoes. Like, that kills me.
Some Oshkosh with Osh shoes. I'm sorry.
Let me click your overall strap real quick.
Wait, and you guys are really gonna hate me because first of all, very, very. I'm talking about. You want to talk about dynamic, man? I mean, I don't want to give too much away because then if he watches this, he's gonna be like, "That was fucking me, man. That was me." Just say he had a great job, public speaking, suited though. Them little suits, they were suited. They were tailored. Them little suits were tailored. Okay. Always kept himself groomed. Great personality, people person, very forward thinker, very serious about life. And I was like, I could, yeah, Jen. I mean, he has all the qualities. Great job, knows money. You know what I mean? Great guy. And then we went out in public. And this is gonna sound super shallow, right? But I come from a family of big men. I just do. That is where I feel the most comfortable. That is where I feel the most protected. That is what I just feel comfortable, right? So the 6 feet thing is it's a way of life in my family and the way we are. The men walk in and it's like, oh shit, the men are here, right? So when we went out in public and now we're around regular sized men, I started feeling away. Like all that good stuff he had, I was like, oh, like everybody's taller than you in here. I feel like I'm with like you know what I mean? Like the lesser guy. And I know that sounds horrible, but that's how I didn't want to feel like that. I didn't want to be a shallow asshole, but I couldn't help but feel like that when I'm standing, all the tall men are coming by and they're shaking hands and the hand is up here to him. Like, hey, I was like, I don't like this. I don't want to be with the little guy. But he's amazing. He's amazing. He is I would recommend him to any woman I know. He is an amazing human being. He's fit, he's physical, but it's just, I don't know, something. I was just like, no, my dad was big, like my uncles are big, like they're all bodybuilders. And I'm just like, I don't know if I could do this. And it worth it.
You know what's ironic about that story? You know what I mean? I bet you could fight.
Yes.
Sure, you better know how to fight.
No, he
better
didn't
know how
fight.
to fight.
The dojo, he was always at the
fight or shoot. You that sure. You know what I mean? But I mean, you ain't tell me that part about this. That part about the story with the small suits and shit like that. Oh,
them suits are tailored though. Them little suits are tailored now. Give them that.
Little suits.
I'm sorry, man. I'm just thinking. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the suits that them ventriloquists be putting on the dummy and shit like that.
Well, you know what? Taz, yes. On topic, on the subject. No, his A game was not enough. It was enough while we were dealing with each other. But then there's a whole world out here, and I wanted to feel. It's just something in me that I'm tiny. I'm 5'4". I'm tiny. I'm a petite woman, so I like feeling like I'm with a man that can move furniture by himself. I can't help, but I don't know. I just can't. Sorry, I grew up. Listen, my dad was a brute. My dad was a brute.
You know, that's biological. A lot of people don't realize that is biological because that's built in. That's baked into the DNA for you to want that.
Yeah, it is. It is, man.
Women,
women, you got to either be smarter or taller than a woman.
That's an innate. That's an innate desire. Okay, like think about it. Think about when we were back in the Stone Age days, right? You needed somebody that was going to protect you. If they were a weenie, if they were a skinny, scrawny little guy, like he ain't killing no saber-tooth tiger. He ain't bringing no food home.
Right.
He ain't gonna protect you. You're better off, getting with somebody that looks like they could do the job. And so there's a desire for that. Here's another thing. You want to hear something funny? Like here's a test. So when you guys see a guy cry, doesn't it repulse you?
No.
Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. No, okay. I'll be honest.
It depends on what they're crying about.
It depends on the setting. It depends on the setting.
No, you just don't know.
And you just see a dude crying in the street. That is repulsive.
Yeah.
That is repulsive.
Okay, so
he's just crying in the street.
Do you find it attractive? Do you find it attractive?
I don't find nothing a guy do attractive.
No, I'm talking to Jen. Do you find it attractive?
Crying isn't attractive for anybody.
But here's the thing. Women will tend to lose security, confidence, if they're with somebody that's always crying. Now, guys can't. We were talking about why guys can't show emotion or intimacy. That was another thing that we were bringing up.
Yes.
So here's the thing. Vulnerability is not sexy, guys. I don't care what any woman says. Being vulnerable, showing weakness is not sexy at all. Showing weakness is what that tends to do is lose confidence over time. Now we can all have flaws. We all know we have flaws, but we don't need to highlight our flaws. Our flaws will highlight themselves when we have our flaws. But being vulnerable is actually not a really good thing. They actually did a study on this where they're talking about open communication and vulnerability. And these guys started revealing to their partners like the things that they're afraid of or things that they are lacking in and they're just not good at. And the wives told them, like the counselor or whatever, like their opinion of their husband did change. They thought that as soon as they realized his vulnerabilities, then they didn't look at them like they did before. They looked at them like they had flaws and they were not good enough. They were
the
lacking.
Samson and Delilah effect.
Exactly.
It's the Samson and Delilah effect.
Exactly. So, I bring up the whole crying thing is that, when the guy sees a woman cry, what is our immediate reaction? We want to know why. We want to fix this, right?
Yeah.
Like we want to. Same thing with babies. When we hear a baby cry, we just want that little fucker to shut up and feed him. What's wrong with you? We wanted to stop the crying. We want to get involved. But when we see a guy cry, we're like, dude, go somewhere. Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with women. So when women see men cry, like they may say it's cute at first, but if your guy is crying, he's a crier, you're gonna be like, shit, I can't take him anywhere. The fucking commercial comes on and he starts crying over the puppies and Sarah McLachlan singing and shit, Heart of an Angel. Like, you don't want that guy.
I don't know if anybody here on here or anybody in the chat watches Married at First Sight. That's one shot that me and my wife watched, and they had this 6'8" dude that was a big old crybaby, and his woman was looking at him like, motherfucker, why are you crying all the time?
Now,
And
Jen,
she lost all attraction for that dude because of that.
I don't have a problem with the guy cries. Now there's a difference between a guy crying and a guy constantly crying. I mean, I get what you're saying with the 6'8" guy, but we have to not allow guys to sort of make guys a robot, like they're repressing their emotions is not very healthy. And to sit there and beat, I'm not saying that's what you're implying, but to sit there and beat a kid and a boy, you better stop crying. I don't think I just don't think that's healthy. I get what you're saying. I just don't think, obviously we're talking in generalization. So some women are going to probably think exactly what you're saying and other women might think different, but it doesn't repulse me.
Do you want to know how we learned that? You know what? Do you know how we learned that guys don't cry? You want to know why we taught guys that from a young age? Because we noticed that the guys that do cry, they don't get to mate. They look weak. It's an innate thing historically. It's like we have been telling young men not to cry. It's because we're telling them not to cry in front of women for a reason. We're like, look, we want your offspring to proceed. If you keep on sobbing everywhere, you're not going to get anywhere with that.
Men associate crying with, let me get this point out. Men associate with crying with a lack of like emotional control. Like you don't have control of your emotions. And for men, loss of emotional control is dangerous. Right. It's not only that's something to worry about, because he could be crying over something and then stabbing you up the next day, because he has it shows like this dude does not have control of his emotions.
Well,
think about it this way.
I will say that
I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying, but people can hold in their emotions and then explode because they don't give a chance to release all that that's built up. Because if you, I don't know. I'm not going to put anybody on the spot. If anybody else, I've cried before. It kind of feels good.
I cried in the movie My Girl.
It kind of feels good to get, and I know this is something with the brain. When you cry, it releases stress and things like that, and you feel better after a cry. Now. But I get what you're saying. You don't. It's not like that guy that's crying at every drop of the hat, or like what's that song? Hootie and the Blowfish. I cry when I see the dolphins or something like that. Something about dolphins and him crying. That's kind of that's weird.
I'm like this. If you're crying. Go
ahead. Mark Randall, if you're still in the chat, come on up. I dropped the link. Mark Randall, if you want to come up. Tez, a woman don't cheat on a man on his A game. Yes, I said that, but we also said his A game ain't mine. Right? I still need to look up to a man, and that's not a great feat because I'm only 5'4".
And actually, you nailed it on the head right there, Jen.
Okay.
Women want a man to look up to. But she doesn't want to look at you. She doesn't want to look at you as her equal.
Yeah.
Right. And when we were here and I had the heels on, we were here, and I'm like,
Well, and like I do agree that is something that biological, because most women want a guy that is taller than them. But I just want the guys that are watching this on replay, and the guys that this is a perfect example. Everybody should know, and this isn't a knock, but women are complicated and men are simple. We're simple. We have very few, and you say, Jen, yourself, 70% of the women are divorcing the men because they're more complicated. We're very content.
Well, I think if we break that down, if you really look into it, you got to look at like when did it start, what triggered, like what factors could have contributed to the huge explosion in it. And you what you will see is like, or what I saw from reading the evidence, is that once they implemented no fault divorce, you could just decide to leave. Once they kind of like broke down the marriage values, or what marriage was supposed to be implemented as, once they started gutting those out in this court system, then you just really didn't have anything. It was very hollow. It was very didn't really hold anything. So then when you start adding no fault divorce into this factor, and then other factors into it, it just really devalued what any worth of marriage. So people are getting married and getting divorced like they're going through a drive-through now.
Well,
it's very minimal.
I think that I don't think women have changed all that much. I think that they were just like when Big Truck says, I'm going to go to this other country and get a girl a passport, bro, and get a girl out of a country because she's impoverished and it's really easy. I'm just thinking situation changed for women. Women were staying in miserable marriages because they had to. When you go back in America and you talk about the old days, right? They didn't have much of a choice. They didn't have the jobs. The divorce was that the courts weren't going to give them any kind of support, so they were kind of forced to stay in that marriage. And now, I think it swung too far in the other direction. I think it's way too profitable.
Well, the thing is,
for women to get a divorce.
You did make a point on that. Like, well, I think part of that is true. I think a lot of women probably are now like, I don't got to stay in a marriage that I'm not satisfied in, or I'm unhappy in. But see, here's the thing about feelings. And this is where, it gets kind of, well, women are just talking like this. Your feelings change. Okay. Your feelings can change by the moment, could change by the day. Happiness is not something that your spouse is supposed to supply you. You are in control of your happiness. You determine whether you're going to be happy in a situation or not.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
When people are like, well, I'm just not happy anymore. Well, then you're not doing anything to make yourself happy. You're not trying to stimulate your happiness. If you are depending on someone else to provide you your happiness, then you are going to go through a life of failures, because nobody's going to completely provide your happiness.
I agree.
Facilitate it. But see, and that's where I think where we're at now. It's that now it's so easy to get a divorce. We simply say, I am no longer happy in this situation. And that's now a good enough reason to throw it away.
And I think where people get in trouble is that they think that the next person is going to provide that happiness for them. And then they go and find out that, the grass isn't always green on the side, or they're stuck with the same problems they had before because it's really something within themselves. Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, we all have that problem. You're looking for somebody to fill a hole that you need to be filling that hole yourself. You need to figure out what's going on in there. I agree with you.
But what if I have two questions? First of all, do you guys do the math like women do? Do you do the math like she's not really all that in this department, but I'm happy enough? Or when you go into a committed relationship or marriage, are you like, nah, she's the one for me and I'm cool here. She's the one for me. Or do you
the male calculation is different from the female. The male calculation is 1 + 1 is 2. The females is trigonometry. It's a whole different. Like, because we're so simple, our calculations are way simpler than yours. Like, okay,
what is that? What does that sound like? What's the 1 + 1 + 2? Because I can tell you that trigonometry will be here all night. But what's the 1 + 1 + 2?
It's like, is she like, all the things that we're supposed to want? Is she attractive? Is she like, is she provide peace? Is she smart? Will she make a good, if you're thinking long term, will she make a mother for my kid? Does she like value herself? Does she like, can I bounce ideas off her? Does she provide something that nobody else can provide for me? It's like simple things like that, as opposed to like because she don't have to be a certain height, certain, maybe a certain weight, but the weight parameters are can be varied. I mean, it's just like, we are more open to expanding our box, I believe, than a lot of women might be when it comes to what we will accept and what we can value long term.
I think we don't take the time to really think about the non-negotiables. We have to really sit down and ask ourselves, what are the non-negotiables? Like, for instance, Jen, you told yourself, well, I probably could kind of look over the fact that he's 5'5", until it was time to go out in public. That's when you realize that, oh, wait, this is a non-negotiable. I really do feel a certain way about this. And if you were, honest with yourself, and I wouldn't say honest with yourself, but if you said to yourself, okay, this is a hard line right here, I'm not going for this or this or that, this is a non-negotiable, then you can just spare yourself the headaches. Like for me, the Gawk is a non-negotiable.
The
like
what?
The Gawk.
The Gawk 8000 is a non-negotiable for me.
That's head. That's giving head. That's blowjobs.
Me basically opening she can open the back of her throat. That's a non-negotiable, man. That's a non-negotiable right there. Jen, let me finish.
Hold on. A woman that can't deep throat, that's a non-negotiable?
No, that she can. I said that if she can deep throat, if she can't, right? Like you said, if she can't deep throat like that, that's a non-negotiable for me.
Why do you gotta have your deep in a woman's esophagus? What is going on? There's so many other.
That's a kink of mine. Hey, don't kink shame me. Like, yo, man, that's a thing of mine, man. Damn, everybody got their thing, shit.
Like, she gotta take all of me, literally and figuratively.
Like, yo, man, I ain't got like throwing hot tar over motherfuckers and shit like that. I'm just saying, like,
I 1000% believe Haran slaps the woman during sex. I 100% believe it now.
With his dick. He's one of those guys.
First of all, that's called the MOF, called meat on forehead. That's what we call it.
Look, listen, this is not about Haran's kinks right now.
So let me talk about the
point with these things, but I have to finish my point, Glenn, before they sidetrack me. Anyway, what I'm saying here is that everybody has to have non-negotiables and stick to them. Because if you don't stick to them, then that's when you find yourself like, damn, man. If I just stuck to the non-negotiable, I really wouldn't be here right now because I know damn well I don't like this shit. You know what I mean? So do that.
I wouldn't do that now. Like I wouldn't any 5, 7. No, I wouldn't do that.
And women and men I feel like are willing to trade off on things like, God damn, her hair can't really grow, but she makes lasagna with 6 different cheeses. It's like we willing to put weight of scales. Like, point. Okay, that is we willing to do that.
Bro, I'm done with y'all. This one needs magic throw. He needs women with magic throw. The other one will take the lasagna with a bald head. To Glenn's point, I understand that women are flighty, right? But are we denying something here? And I'm gonna do like Glenn does. You men aren't gonna like this, right? The way he says things about women, and women aren't gonna like it. You men aren't gonna like this. Now that women have the option to leave a man and they don't have to put up with shit that our mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers had to, because they can, get on their own. Maybe you guys are just not fucking pleasant to live with. Maybe you guys aren't worth living with. You ever think about that? That you guys are fucking annoying or boring or dirty or farty or the sex goes bad after a while. Maybe women are just like deuces. Like, why am I even here when I have a rabbit vibrator? I got my Netflix, I got my girls trips and a hunky trainer I could smash every now and then. Why do I need a whole fucking bump on a log on my
women have no sense of commitment and duty? Is that what you're asking? Why do they not have to have that? No sense of they stand up there.
That's not what I asked.
I'm just asking. It sounds like what we're hearing. I'm sure other men have probably heard it the same way. It's like men are ones supposed to have
no sense of commitment and duty.
I'm asking. You're asking. You're saying he's farting, what you call it, but those things, like you committed to this person. Hopefully you experience some of that. It's not like how it was where, arranged marriage where they bring you together. The first time you see him is at the altar. You probably done lived with him and kicked it with him, been with him for a couple of years now in modern times. And it's just like you've established that, and all of a sudden, year 18, that farting he was doing at year 2 just drives you out the fucking wall. I mean, it's just like come on. There's a sense of duty there that men are held to a high standard when it comes to duty. We have to be on our purpose. There's a sense of duty that we need to always have and display. And women can be like, oh, well, I'm not happy now. That farting year 18 is annoying me. I'm gonna get divorced. And you incentivized to do so.
Yeah, but a man would die though. A man would die if he doesn't do that. That's just common natural law. I don't understand.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
What, farting?
No,
No.
the whole the
Well,
duties
actually,
and
you
stuff
would
like
die if
that.
you didn't fart.
Like you will die. Like that's
Like,
just
no,
being
seriously,
a
I mean,
functioning adult.
Wait a damn minute, Damien. No, I'm coming for Damien right now. Okay, pause. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna throw a cat. Maybe a little cat, but I'm gonna throw a cat. Because when I'm in a fucking relationship, I am committed to not do no nasty woman shit around my man for the duration of our relationship. I don't fucking let myself go after 5 fucking years. So that's commitment.
Wait. Can I ask you a question?
So, well.
Can I ask you a question? You've never farted in front of a man a day in your life?
No.
Oh my God.
Did you ever blow your nose in front of a guy? Have you ever?
Pause. No.
You never blew your nose in front of a guy?
I cannot. If I did, I was asleep and I ain't know I did it. No, never.
So you never did anything, I don't know, human in front of your guy?
I do lots of human shit, but you know what I mean? I just feel like men don't.
Jen, what is human things to you? What is the human
right?
Men don't. Here's my thing. I don't think men need to see the magic, how the magic happens.
Okay, see, this is a different topic entirely.
We're talking about taking a shit, not getting ready for the day.
Like, come on now. Like, after a while, and if you're 20, if we've been together for like 10, 20 years or whatever, and I've never heard you fart, how do I really know you? Like, I don't know you as a person.
I'm gonna let you know.
Man, I mean, seriously.
Haran, when you come to Vegas, I'll fart for you. Okay.
I'm gonna let you know that my Erica does not. I've not heard her do it.
That's a big
Are you
L,
serious?
Haran. A big L.
Thank you. We can't. You heard that, Damien? He hasn't heard his wife fart. How long have you been married?
What is it? 20
20
years?
20 years. And you've never heard your wife fart?
No.
You ever sneezed in front of you?
Let me respond to what Jen was talking about earlier or the question,
Shit, we got Jack Easy backstage. Hold on. Don Levon, what's your height, Don Levon? Don Levon, thank you for the super chat. Don Levon said, dang, according to y'all, a guy my height can't get no sex.
No.
Wait a minute, my short guy got sex. I gave him sex. Does not get panicky?
No,
no. I just did it, what's your height?
See, I like how she said that, then stop mid-sentence to say, what's your height? Like, I could be telling a whole lie, right?
But I want to know what his height is, because I'm not saying you can't get none. I'm saying you can't keep it.
I want to say something else. Not only have I not heard her fart, I've never smelled a fart. Like I don't know where she goes and gets rid of all this stuff.
I used to date a model. I used to date a model that never farted around me or never went to the bathroom. I don't know. I asked her one day. I'll be like, do you do like regular shit? Like sneeze or like go to the bathroom or like she was like, I don't fart. She was like, I don't fart. I've never farted a day in my life. I'm like, come on, just stop. All right? Just stop it.
Like my wife don't just be going around me like letting it go and all that shit. But it happens. Don't get me wrong. She look at me like I just caught her smoking crack. It's like, it's just like she's mad ashamed.
Look at Don Levon. He said, if a girl fart in front of me, I'm throwing her in the trash. You see, men don't want to know. Men don't want to be around that.
I'm just gonna troll you.
Let me throw a caveat in there. If you just finished banging out some baked beans and shit like that, no, I don't want to hear that shit. But if, and if something happens, casually and, shit happens, maybe you tripped and you fell real hard and it just, something just, I'm not going to sit there and throw you in the trash because you farted. Like, shit happens, literally.
Yeah, you're on a treadmill and...
That's not farting. But that's not farting. That's not the same thing. See,
can I cook? Because I gotta go to work real quick.
Oh, go ahead, Nakmeezy.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Y'all dropping
What's going
jewels
on?
on this panel today. Salute to
What's up,
everybody.
brother?
Rest in peace to Big Truck. He's somewhere in YouTube heaven looking down on us.
Leave him
The one
alone,
trick,
man.
the one trick pony has been turned. The one trick pony has been turned into My Little Pony. May he rest in peace.
The New
But
York
yo, let's
energy,
start with the
baby.
farts. I've been married for 12 years. My wife has never. She farted once in her sleep, and I gave a shit over it. You know what I'm saying? There's certain cultures that they just don't do that, and I respect that. I don't want to know about, like Jen said, the behind the scenes shit. Like, I don't, just be beautiful, be smelling fresh, don't fart, don't shit around me, nothing. And my wife has never done it, and I respect her for that. But on the fart shit, right?
It ain't easy neither. We gotta wait till you go to work and shit and be like, oh,
Exactly. Wait till So now check this out. Jen, you mentioned women just getting tired and, well, we don't want to smell your farts, and we got this and we got that and we got this. That's why I say the A game is working on yourself, because a woman's wants, needs, desires, and trends are going to change. And I'm not going to chase those trends. Human beings will change, human beings get bored, human beings are tempted. So it has nothing to do with game. And we have to separate physical
Right.
attributes and game. Game is something that you learn through experience. Sometimes it's given to you. But if you're a short man, you may still have game. But just because you're short doesn't mean you're not on your A game. It just means that you're short.
Right.
There's many ugly dudes that bag beautiful women because they have game. So if we ask the panel, like, as a man, what attracts you to your woman first? First, it's the looks. For a lot of women, it's the looks and then the money. You see what I'm saying? So it boils down to finances and beauty. So if a woman is going to change her mind and get bored, I'm not going to chase that dragon. No, I work on myself, and I flip the game. It's like, what do you bring to the table besides your box? If it's just your looks, guess what? There's more women than men, and there's a lot of beautiful women. So women, we have, as men, have to force women to step their game up. Can you cook? Can you do my taxes? Can you call my clients? Can you teach my children something? If you're just a pretty face that could cook a little bit and you can't, I don't see any legacy. I don't see anything besides just the physical. Guess what? There's always someone more beautiful. Someone's tits are not hanging as low as yours are now. I'm not saying specifically Jen. I'm just saying
I
in
was gonna
general,
say,
right?
wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Don't put me in that.
So that's what it is. Chase self-improvement. Don't chase, some woman's what she thinks, and we got to stay on our A game. We catering to women too much. Cater
That's
to
why,
yourself, man. I'm telling you.
that's why I said you had to live in your frame, like your frame. That's your view, your direction. Work on what you want to improve. Go after what you see fit. Like if you're going down this path, don't let somebody else influence you and divert you off your path that you have set out on. That's living in your frame. When you live in your frame in the psychological terms is like your worldview. How do you filter your decisions? Do you worry about who's going to be upset at you if you make a decision? If you do something, are they going to be mad? Is that how you filter things? Or do you go, you know what, this is the best choice for me to do. I'm going to go do it. And you know what? I don't really care what other people think. This is what's best for me and my purpose. That's living in your frame. When you and what happens a lot in marriages, what guys tend to do is that they defer the frame to their wife. Happy wife, happy life. And when guys tend to do that, one, it's really unattractive. Two, you have just shown her that you are not capable of leading. Because if you are willing to sacrifice and abandon your frame and you're supposed to be the leader, she's looking, oh, okay, so what else is he going to drop? What else is he going to easily give up?
You are dropping jewels. Let me jump on that real quick before I bounce. That's what I wanted to say. So when I made a super chat comment, I wasn't coming at you. I was actually feeling what you were saying. The women, like I had to explain to my wife one time, I said, did you select an idiot as a husband? No. Well, then let me lead. Allow me to be the man that I am. I said, I've never steered this family wrong, and I'm not going to start today. Trust in my leadership, right? And if my leadership, the fact that I try to stay in shape, try to, lead my children and teach and all this other shit, right? If that's not good enough, and my wife decides, well, I fell off my A game because of XYZ, then she can kick rocks. I'm going to do what I have to do respectfully as a man. And as a man, we shouldn't be crying. Number one, I don't allow my son to cry for physical pain. You can cry at funerals, you can cry at other shit, but I don't want to hear no sniffling because you stub your toe. No, we are men, we are masculine, the men who have changed this world and created the things that we enjoy now. We're not bitches. I used to be scared of heights, right? And the job that I work in, or the business that I work in, everything's high. I do a lot of rope access shit. And I said to myself, the money's up there. That's why I gotta go and get it. So I can't be emotional and scared because then I'll be fucking broke. So that's all I want to say. Salute to y'all.
What
Salute,
ethnicity
brother.
is your wife, Nakmeezy?
Well, she's okay. I'm gonna get shit for this because I'm the proud Black American, not married to a Black American, right? She's from the island of Curacao, which is it's like a Latin type culture, but they speak a Latin type language, but it's not Spanish though.
Okay.
Let me
See,
get that
I think a lot, if you notice the pattern of the culture, right? Because I always said Puerto Rican women, we're damn near raised like geishas. Like damn near like geishas. We have to look a certain way, walk a certain way, cook a certain way. We have to, and I think that's where that comes from, where it's like, I don't want him to see the process because that's not how I was raised. My mother always told me, make sure your underwear is matching, make sure he never walks in, you have a hole in your t-shirt. And my mother's voice is still in the back of my head. So when that car is pulling up, I'm like, oh my God, how do I look? He's coming in the door. Like I still do that to this day. I mean, I'm single, but when I'm in a relationship, I still do that to this day. Like it's never left to me, even at this age. I just can't, I can't bring myself to do it. I can't do it. And I've seen other women and I'm like, you're not afraid that like your man's coming home and you look like, and women be like, I don't give a damn. He know who he with. I'm like, okay.
Nah, be afraid. Be very afraid. Stay on your A game as a woman. Stay on your
he
A
saw
game.
that chick at his job. That makes him feel like a man.
There's definitely
And it's some Latin shit. It's some Latin shit to keep it 100. Like I don't do every Latin is the same, but Puerto Ricans, like I always say, the original Latinos of New York City. And I had ran into some legal troubles that I didn't do. Every Black man says that shit, right? But anyway, I really didn't. And I call my family, I call my boss, I call everyone. The only person that came to Central Booking was my Puerto Rican girlfriend at the time. Loyal, clean. She did everything. As a matter of fact, she was going to John Jay at the time, and she was pushing me to go into a certain industry. So shout out to Latinas. I think you should probably have a show on the cultural differences as it relates to relationships. That would be awesome. But
listen, you better come back because that shit's gonna be fireworks if I do that.
Oh, for sure. And I love my Black American women, but Latinas are kind of wired different. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Listen, there'd be fireworks up here, so you better come back for that. No, but there are cultural differences, and I mean it's okay. Everybody's raised differently, but where it's like that whole feminine shit it was strict.
Yeah, I want to add to that.
Thank you, Nakmeezy.
It definitely the Latin, and I'm not just talking about Latinos and in the Western Hemisphere. You go to Italy, the women are like that. You go to I'm pretty sure Romania, the women are like that. France, and it's different from the Latin Europeans from the Anglo, like Spain, same thing. The Anglo Europeans, like Germany, you can see it. You can see how the American women, the white Anglo American women are too. They relax, coming out, socks and flip flops on, and all that kind of stuff. You wouldn't catch Latin women doing that in all those in Europe or in South America or anywhere. It's a difference in culture. It definitely is a difference in culture.
Yeah. Don Levon said, thank you for the super chat. Don Levon said, I'm 5'8". I got 3 women that want to marry me right now, and one of them are already married. 5'8" is fine, Don Levon. You making it sound the guy I was 5'8" is
some
fine.
Tim's on. You good.
Hello.
That ain't Oshkosh Bagosh and buttoned up overall.
Just do what I do, Don Levon. Just lie about your height, say you're 5'2", and then when you see them in person, like bam, I'm 5'11" actually.
But you know what's funny? You know what's funny? Don Levon said 3 women want to marry him. Like I would have fucked around and married that little guy. Cause he was that dope. Like I would have fucked around and like, all right, I'm gonna commit to you. Let's do this. I would have regretted it after. But again, women do that. We do the math in our head. And then, 2-3 years down the line, I would have got tired of ironing.
Not paid to see that wedding cake.
But I'm saying you would have gotten, but I think like cats like that, like I'm going to send some love out to like the short cats or what have you, because it's like you have to establish some type of like dominance someplace else. Like a guy like Kevin Hart, he's only 5'3", but he doesn't have a 5'3" mentality.
Right.
You see him sexing that, but you see him, but he rocks it and he owns any place he walks in, he owns. Right. So the respect is just through the roof.
It's because he has a dominant masculine presence.
Yeah, so I think a lot of women,
it's a dominant masculine presence, and you know what?
Exactly.
A lot of guys lack that.
Thank you, Tristan. I gotta pause y'all.
Y'all know he was shuckling and buckling all his way to.
I gotta pause y'all because I'm sorry. I understand the man is wealthy, but I think he's a cornball. I think.
No, wait a minute.
I think his movies are whack.
But
I'm just saying.
He's a mini Terry Crews. That's how I see Kevin Hart. He does not make me wet. He reminds me of a little chihuahua that's constantly. He doesn't give off masculine energy to me. He gives off Napoleon syndrome.
Okay.
That is not masculine. He overcompensates for being 5'0". So I've never seen him. And now don't get me wrong. The guy I dated was way more masculine than Kevin Hart. He had presence. He was a public speaker. He dressed well. Was in his dojo every day. He could fight. I don't see Kevin Hart like that. I think Kevin Hart throw his weight around.
Well, Prince was 5'2".
He had something different.
I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Y'all have no problem slapping Kevin Hart, right?
Glenn, I think you're on mute.
Answer that.
Oh, I'm on the phone real quick. I'll be right there.
Okay.
Answer what Tristan just said.
Do I have no problem slapping Kevin Hart? Like if Kevin Hart stepped to me and was disrespectful, I knock Kevin Hart the fuck out.
Exactly. Ain't no alpha presence.
Kevin Hart. No, I'm just talking. I'm not. No.
You don't have to have an
I'm just saying.
to knock somebody the fuck out.
There ain't no masculine presence neither.
He shows.
I will punch your little ass. That's what you're gonna say.
He shows a significant amount of utility without, being a big dude.
Did you just call him a token Negro?
That's exactly what I think he's kind of misconstruing what Damien's saying. What Damien's saying is that in order to pull off what he pulled off, you have to have a very, very strong sense of self. Because any man, any black man that's like 5 foot nothing, he has every reason in the world to be literally down on himself and basically have low self-esteem. Now, he took whatever he had and he flipped that into a huge situation. And he flipped that into a situation where, a lot of times he does overcompensate. Yeah, he does do goofy, dumb shit, so on and so forth. But you can't take anything away from that guy.
Yeah, you can't take when he walks. You don't realize Kevin Hart is as little as he is from his persona. And don't get me wrong, I'm 100%. We 100%.
He's corny.
I think his shit is so cool. I think he's the definition of cooning. He's like the goofy, like he plays up the stereotypes. I hate his films. But when he walks into a room, I can't deny it. I just got to keep it a buck. When he walks into a room, you don't realize how short he is because his presence is so large. His presence looms large.
That's not Prince. That's Prince.
Prince's presence looms way large.
Prince. That is Prince. If Prince, when you see Prince, you like this. That is a guy I just saw. Like we've seen.
You know why? But you know what's the difference that he. It's because Kevin. Listen, I do this thing where I respect the rank. I don't have to respect the man to respect the rank. Mm-hmm. His hustle is profound. You can't take that from Kevin Hart. His hustle is profound. As far as him walking in the room and why people act a certain ways, because usually he's the richest motherfucker in there, unless he's hanging out with Jay-Z and Chris Rock and
right,
and you know what I mean, and them cats. But he wouldn't turn me on. Like if he was trying to holler on something, I'd be like, I'm good, Kevin. I'm good. Really, I'm good. Because if I'm into money, there's a lot of guys that are taller than you that have money. So why would I, if I can get a guy with money, why not get the tall guy with money? Why settle for the little one that I'm gonna be like, oh my God, he's so in bed and he's so little. Like, you know what I mean? I would feel
So little.
it's just not he walks in with little jeans. I don't want to see any more little jeans.
Because
Like if we can share shoes.
Yeah, you know the funny shit about that dude? He had this. He's I don't think he's funny, but he had one bit in his comedy, one of his comedy specials that shit was funny as fuck. He was talking about he stumbled onto his wife's porn stash, and he said that he put on one of the tapes and shit, and he said when he put it on, everything was big. So he was like, there was pictures of motherfucking tall men putting shit on counters and shit like that. You know what I mean? Everything was large and huge and shit like that.
See, there's someone else in the chat. 5'8" isn't what I'm talking about, Don Levon. That the guy I dated was way short.
5'8" is fine. 5'8"
5'8" is fine. That's average. 5'8"
Look, man. Look,
I wouldn't want to be 5'8", but it's fine.
Look, man. Motherfuckers got their Napoleon jokes. That motherfucker almost took over the world, though. That's how you got to look at it, man.
That's how I feel, Lily. Like I can't. Like Kevin Hart is like he's like one of them people I can't watch perform for too long because he gets on my nerves.
To me, like to prove Jen's point, right? Kevin Hart was that dude, right? Everybody loved Kevin Hart. Then he did that movie with The Rock, and The Rock just took and ran with that shit. I said, now The Rock is the number one guy now. I said, it's just they're always going to go for the taller, bigger, more secure looking man. It's just a fact.
This is a good one though. Zoe Mandel, I don't take dollar super chats. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. What's wrong with you, baby? I don't do it. He's like, I sent you $1 to Cash App. Can I get a word? What is going on?
You can get a word. Next.
He ain't on his A game.
It's $1 per word.
Yo, dang, he gonna get a letter, not a word. He gonna get a letter.
Seriously, you can get a hand motion. You know,
I didn't even know they were dollar super chats and shit.
Were they dollars? There is 99. I've seen somebody do it just to get the get on the board. They put like the 99-cent.
Cash App. I didn't even know you could send. I didn't even know you could send $1 in Cash App, but I learned something today thanks to Zoe Mandel. No, honey, I don't do dollar Cash Apps or super chats. Sorry. There's a business. This
was rent week. Shit tight when it's rent week, I guess.
Yeah, but my guy was a lot shorter. My guy was a lot shorter than 5'8". He was short.
VA payday today.
Was he a midget? Was he a midget?
He was not a small person, but he was small.
He was a midget, wasn't he?
And even like when we used to get in elevators,
you see how she's avoiding the height. What was the height, Jen?
I would, if I had to guess,
he was a midget. She just doesn't admit he was a midget.
He wasn't a midget. If I had to guess, maybe 5'5". I would say 5'5".
When you're guessing, you're estimating, and you saw him in shoes.
I'm estimating because I'm thinking of like when he used to stand in front of me. You know what I mean? It was like.
Oh, that's so cute.
We were in the elevators, and everybody's taller than us.
Can you imagine that, Damien? You always look to the side and be like, "Hey, little girl. Hey, little boy.
Like,
are you lost?
Are you lost?
Are you lost?
Do you need some help?"
Picture, listen.
Are you guys lost?
Case in point, I'm on an elevator with my little guy, and fucking Damien walks in.
Oh man!
Come on, and I'm standing.
I'm guys. I'm sorry.
And I'm like,
I remember, yeah, it's weird because I know dudes ain't supposed to, but I remember I dated this chick who was 4'1" and she was bad, and she was 4'1", and I felt like I was walking with a little kid when I was
That's a
walking through
midget.
the mall.
I have a friend who's 4'1". I have a friend who's 4'1".
No,
So what was
4'11",
the
4'11", not
question?
4'1".
4'11".
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah, she's
say
4'11".
4'1". That's a
I have a friend
I
who's
mean 4'1", 4'11".
Now I knew a dude who was like 6'2", 6'3". His girl was like 4 feet.
dude.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean,
Did he check the ID?
oh no, they was she was of age, man.
You positive?
Yes, man. We were all in high school
Positive?
together, man.
Listen,
She could just be advanced and just skipped a few grades.
it
Oh
just
wait,
goes.
hold on. Let me do something right quick because people.
What was the question before I got on the phone?
Done.
Would you say
We done went through 4 questions since then. I don't
Oh,
even know where
okay,
it
okay.
started
Then
at.
don't worry about it. I don't need to backtrack then.
Listen, it goes to show you that there's somebody for everybody. Danny DeVito, I think, is 4'11", and he found his wife is like 4'10". I mean,
But remember, he is a celebrity with status. He
Right,
compensated in
right.
other ways. I want to ask you a question, Jen, and I know I probably know the answer already. That dude that was 5'5", whatever. When you walked into the place, you saw these big dudes. If all the big dudes were like showing him love, like, "Oh, what's up?" Let's just say his name is Steve. "What's up, Steve?" You like acting like he was the man. Then I think would that have changed your perception of his aura or his energy or whatever in the situation if everybody was showing him massive respect? Because I think if you short and you garner massive respect, then it kind of changes the dynamic. You're like, okay, I don't got to worry about it because they respect this dude enough not to fuck with the little guy, you know?
So here's the thing. That's a great question because he did have presence. Like he taught me about body language. He was like, when 2 men are talking, the one that's backing up, you notice you watch 2 men talking just for a little while. They could be friends or acquaintances or co-workers. The one that's constantly moving back is not the dominant one. And I used to see that. Then I started studying men and studying women. And even, and it's a long story, but I went to get a gym membership and I noticed that the guy and sales guys do this a lot. They have this presence and it's like, and I was telling the friend I was with, I was like, don't fucking back up as he moves forward. You fucking stand there because what he's trying to do is dominate, right? The space. So I was just standing there and to the point where we were almost like this, but I was like, I'm not moving back because my friend taught me this shit. So I'm standing here, right? So he knew he had presence. He knew body language. He knew a lot of shit. So he had respect. The little suits, I'm telling you, they were tailored. They were nice, right? But still, even after a while, like it was still, I guess, my I don't
biology.
know, my animal, thing was like, I still want to be with a big man, right? A bigger than me. Now, he doesn't have to be a giant, but I was still like, I felt like something was missing. He was small. But he had presence. Like I take nothing. I would recommend him. If a woman will take somebody who's 5'5", I'd be like, that's the guy. He has everything that you'd probably want.
And sometimes you're backing away because that breath is funky.
Well, aside from the breath, it's a dudes try to cement like I'm the silverback in here.
No, I got it, but sometimes you're backing out. I've been in situations where I'm like, I gotta step back a foot.
It was interesting. I'd never seen that before. And we were sitting down in a lounge one time and he was like, watch those two and watch those two. So I learned a lot from him. Smart man. And I was like, oh shit, he is. Why is he backing up? They started over there. Now they over there. Like it's very interesting to watch. So he's amazing. I loved being out with him because like Damien said, he did get respect, people, but I was still like, I like big men. I like big butts and I cannot lie. And there's things like, can you get that from the cabinet? Can you change the light bulb? Can you?
Well, I mean, see, like, here's the thing: like, if a guy's lacking in height or lacking in anything, really, he could change that with the dominant masculine presence. It's the way that he carries himself and the way people react to him. It does do a lot. As you were saying, like say Steve is short, but if Steve walks in the room and he captures the room, that's power. That's very subtle power. Like to draw attention, to capture a room, to capture the attention, for people are now looking at you and wondering what your next move is. That is a sense of that's you're dominating that presence. You're captivating, and that I think is more attractive for ladies than height or anything else, because that kind of triggers the social status cues, and also triggers like what they call social like reinforcement. Like other people are also looking at them, or other girls are talking about them too. Like if you notice,
That's
like
pre-selection. Yeah.
pre-selection, yep. And it's like, ladies, if you want to know if your guy looks good, bring him next to a hot chick, right? You can bring the ugliest guy next to a hot chick, and people will look at him and be like, what does he got that he got her? You could bring Quasimodo next to Jen, and everybody will think Quasimodo got something going on for himself because who he's standing with.
Donna wants that Jen just wanted to dump him. I didn't want to dump him. I'm telling you, I would have fucked around and made a mistake and married him. That's how dope he was. It would have been a mistake, though.
A good example of this is Mike Tyson. Whenever Mike Tyson went, especially in the club back in the days, the crowds would part like the Red Sea. Mike Tyson is 5'10", okay? Nobody would mistake Mike Tyson for not being a dominant presence.
Well, he's shown his propensity for violence. He's shown brutality.
But in a sense, if you're from kind of where he's from, you know what I mean? He still had that Brownsville energy around him, even when he spoke, even if you didn't see it. It's just that when you actually saw it, it's like, oh shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, he showed that definitely. But to the point of to Glenn's point, you know what I mean, if a person like I'm 5'9", straight up, but I'm also a wide person. You know what I mean? I have large shoulders, I have, you know what I mean, I have traps, so on and so forth. So my shape isn't like, I'm not skinny. So visually, you know what I mean, I'm not necessarily in the back of someone's mind a small person.
But you're above average height.
Right, exactly. But the point of the matter is this. If I was thinner and taller, you know what I mean, I'd still look like a big guy. However, if I'm thinner and shorter, still 5'9", 5'8", I look like a smaller person. You understand what I'm saying? Because if I'm be that height, it's better for me to be wider or or have some kind of muscular going on.
Yeah, sometimes it's body frame too. Like, like I was thinking about this the other day. I was at a basketball game, and one team had these couple of young players that were tall but super thin, and then but what's his name, Jonas Valanciunas was tall, but it wasn't like he was, you could see he had muscles that were keeping his bones together. It's like frame and I mean, because sometimes you're tall and it doesn't, like, I don't know, Glenn, you might know a little bit about this. Some of those shorter guys tend to put, I guess, thicker muscles. I don't know if it's easier or whatever, but they look thicker.
So what it is that their muscle fibers are shorter, so they're not elongated, they're thicker. So the taller you are, like I'm 6 foot, and when I competed in bodybuilding, like I competed in the classic physique class. So that was a new class that came out when I was competing, because bodybuilders are typically short and they're wide. They're like Haran, but with this new class, they were going for that Arnold, look back in the day where it's, he was still big, but he was really defined. He had the V taper, that classic, bodybuilding look is what this new division was. So when I competed in bodybuilding, I didn't do good at all. It didn't matter how much I lifted and how big I was. When I stood next to those guys as tall as I am compared to them, I looked small because they looked more dense and wide than I did. So height does play a role in things when it comes to your muscles and conditioning, because like Haran could probably get way thicker and bigger than I can, but he may not be stronger than me, just by the way that his muscle fibers grow and how he's able to work them out. Mine are elongated, so it'll take me so much longer to actually get to where that size is than he would.
Yeah
I was like, with me, it was like people always thought I was taller than I was because I was like so skinny back when I was younger. It's like people always thought, because like I would stand next to you. You met my cousin TJ. He's 6'3", and people like people never thought we were the same age. He was obviously taller than me, but they thought we were closer in height because I'm only 6'1". And he, I've always hung out with, like you said, I've always hung out with taller people. One of my best friends is 6'8", and I used to hang around with him, and they'd be like, "Oh, here come the little partner," like pat me, and it's just one of those things. People thought I was taller. Then when I gained weight, people think I'm was like, "Oh, he's shorter than he is," and then until I walk up and like stand right next to you, then they're like, "Oh, we can see that he's taller than you can see his height then at 6'1".
See, and I want to Donovan. He said, I can't blame Jen. It's like, I don't want a woman bigger than me. She can be taller than me, but not way more or fat. Everybody has their thing. I see buzzing in the chat. Let me address this really, really quickly. I'm not going to ask for anything that I wouldn't do. I don't go on any man's panel and send him $1 ever. Never done it. Ever. So why would I accept a man sending me $1 to come on my panel? One, I don't know this guy. He could be coming up here to troll. He could be coming up here to talk shit. We don't know him. I don't know him. So I feel like if he invests some money, he'll come up here and not act the ass, right? That's why I said that. Otherwise, it would be cool, but I'm not going to ask someone to do something I wouldn't do. I'm a woman, and I don't go on a man's panel and shoot him $1 to get on his panel. So if I can do that as a woman, if I can show more respect than giving someone $1, because this is work, even though it's fun, then you can do that. And if you can't, you can. I'm not going to shame you for it, but you're not going to shame me for not being that type of person. I'm not going to shoot somebody $1 and think they're my friend now. Okay, I wanted to get that out the way. I don't really like letting new people up unless I know what they're about. So no love lost, no love found. Okay. Just wanted to get that out the way.
Just come in the chat kind of religiously. Let her get used to some of the stuff that you got to say, and then you'll be all good. Just come in.
Like
we done had a lot of bad apples in the past.
You see what we got to deal with every now and then.
Nigga, I'm broke.
She just said you broke, sir. You gonna let her talk to you like that?
No, like it's like I don't know. I don't know that man's economic status or his money. I don't know his pockets. I'm just saying it's a respect thing. I don't do it. I never send a man $1. Like I would feel funny sending a guy $1. I would feel funny.
It's YouTube. He's a millionaire.
Oh well, yeah,
YouTube. He's a millionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all mad here.
We're all millionaires. Every man is a millionaire with a 10-inch dick.
I do want to address, because I saw Tom Brady's name come up twice, and I think he is perfect for this topic about men being on their A game. But is it enough? 2 people mentioned Tom Brady. How do you rationalize, gentlemen? This is Tom Brady. The football heavens freaking part. And Tom Brady floats down. But his wife said deuces.
Okay, because
I'll tell you how.
I got this. Let me make it easy. Let me do this easy, Saint, because then I gotta go. All right. This is what it is. Tom Brady, great football player. He was not the breadwinner in his family. Okay. You guys don't know, like, she owns a lot of money. She made a lot of money collecting those stocks when they first started launching Victoria's Secret, and they couldn't pay her. She was smart in getting in them to get her payment in stocks.
Oh no, she's worth almost $500 million.
Yeah, she's worth more than him. Yeah. So really what it was is he may have been the alpha on the field. He may have been the guy in the field. He may have been the leader on the field, but he was not the leader in the house.
And have you heard him talk? He's not like a bright kind of like engaging. Linguist or anything like that.
It's like, kind of you think about it, it's like
guy.
Yeah. Well, all right.
This way, like she said, look, she gave him an ultimatum: no more football. You're done.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm the guy. I'm the guy out here. And she's like, okay, goodbye. The power of relationships is this: whoever needs the relationship the least has all the power. And she pulled that move, and she showed that she didn't need that move.
So
I agree.
But
on that, you guys, I got a jet.
So, all right, Glenn.
Good night,
Good night.
Mandel. Good night, Zombie.
I want to add. So I'm not saying. Glenn has a point, but I also want to add. First of all, there's a few schools out there that you go to. I know you see it doesn't sound right. Like you go to Stanford or you go to Michigan or you go to Harvard, there's no dummies going there. So I really do believe he wasn't even starting. So it wasn't like they were trying to keep him on pass him. But I will say this about Tom Brady. Tom Brady and people like Tom Brady are rare. The people that go to the top, and we're talking the top of the best of the best, have a certain gene and they put everything into it, and it takes work. We go out there and we watch him play, and this goes for the top football players, the top soccer players, the top CEOs in business, the top entertainers, radio guys. They have a gene and they can't not have that drive, so they put everything into that. But they lack, obviously, because you're spending all this time studying and looking over stuff, you let other stuff go. And that's what he wants to, that was his thing. He was the best, arguably the best quarterback, and he gave it up for a couple of months and said, you know what, I'm not done. I only quit because my wife wanted me to quit. But he's wired like that, not everybody's wired like that. So just because you're the best in, say, like Glenn said, just because you're the best in football doesn't mean in relationships you'd be the best.
I dumped a football player, so you're right, Donovan. Wasn't Tom Brady, but he had a very nice net worth. Been there, done that. It was fun.
Yeah, Saint has a very he's absolutely correct. I had a lot of times in my life when I could have gotten married. Straight up, I could have gotten married. I could have settled down and so on and so forth. But the need to compete in the areas that I have interest in, it was just too strong.
Mm-hmm.
I had to be at the top of my game. I had to be, because look, man, every guy who's at this is the irony of the term A game. In order for a man really to be on his A game, I mean, I'm just flat out just saying what it is. In order to really walk into the room and be that nigga, that dude, a lot of work goes into that. A lot of work goes into that. A lot of sacrifices. A lot of time spent away from the kids. A lot of times that aren't necessarily synonymous with being a great boyfriend, a great husband, a super dad, an amazing son, so on and so forth. I will admit to that no, there are many areas in my life on a personal level that suffered because I had to go get that. I had to be the best in a particular thing. I had to do this. I had to do that, and I achieved it. I'm still achieving it, but yeah, there are a number of things that fell at the wayside because I knew that, ironically, if I did concentrate on balance, what I really wanted in the thirst of the win, it would have suffered to a great degree.
Well, like Tom Brady wouldn't have been. Nobody thought Tom Brady was going to be Tom Brady except Tom Brady.
Right. Right.
Everybody, when he got, like, you look, Tom Brady is not a physical specimen. He's awkward. He's He's just, his field IQ is just unmatched. That's what it is. It's like you look at it, like I remember when they were showing him on draft day, they showed him in like some shorts and stuff. I mean, he was skinny. He's just not a physical specimen. He's not the guy in the weight room getting himself ripped and together and stuff like that. So nobody thought that he was going to be Tom Brady. So I can understand him not ready to give that up because he's where nobody thought he was going to be but him. And that's how he defines who he is.
Yeah.
I'm Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. Who am I without that? I'm just Giselle's husband.
But see, that's what I'm talking about. I agree with you. Like, you look at, like, even like the guy that I watched the last 15 years, Drew Brees, you wouldn't think he's going to be, as good as he was, but those guys have something different. So quarterbacks that come out and fail don't have that drive. Some of them have a lot of athletic talent and they've gotten through college and gotten to be the number 1 pick or or a high draft pick, but they don't have the it gene. So they end up not really doing well in the NFL. He has the it gene. So although he's not as athletic as many of the quarterbacks, and you can, I mean, Patrick Mahomes has the it gene. You know what I mean? I mean, he has a lot of talent, but I'm saying he, he's one of those top echelon quarterbacks. But Tom Brady, he has that drive to be the best, and so he ends up sacrificing, like Haran said, sacrificing a lot, most everything else. And to your point, that's because it's now his identity, the greatest quarterback of all time, and he doesn't want to give that up.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Michael Jordan. Like, what did Michael Jordan have to give up? I mean, all these guys had to give up.
But Michael Jordan had something different. He still had, like, he was marketable. So he was, and he still had. He knew.
Okay, that's a good point.
He established himself on many different fronts. He was like spokesperson, business person, number 1 NBA player of all time. So he had a bunch of stuff to follow. Tom Brady ain't got none of that. I mean, he can't even talk. When it comes
to become Michael Jordan takes a degree of focus, takes a degree of sacrifice. I guess that's more so of what I was getting at.
Jen, I'm sorry. I know we're not trying to turn your channel to your
sports. I'm for a few minutes because we're about to close, but y'all not gonna do ESPN tonight.
Nah, that's for another night.
I was here, Tom Brady. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, I agree with Damien. When I hear that name a lot. And when I finally saw him on TV, I'm like, this is who y'all always talking about? This white man looks scraggly, but I guess, he's the best scraggly white man on the field, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I was like, this is who y'all talking about all the time? Tony,
but yeah.
We closing, Tony.
Hey, I got to give him, he's from the Bay, so I'm always had love for him, so.
He's from the Bay?
He's from the Bay. San Mateo, the rich part of the Bay, but whatever.
yeah, San Mateo, yeah, definitely. I want to say something about the height thing though.
What's your height?
I've stood next to both, even though he puts his platforms on, Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt, I don't know how many people know, he's not a short guy. He's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yes.
And it makes a difference even how I looked at it, like, because I'm 6 foot and I'm like, God, wow, Brad, wow. It's like he's 6'4".
Yeah, when he did.
I'm sure if you Google a Brad Pitt is not 6'4".
He
probably like he may be my height 6'1".
He doesn't look that he doesn't look that tall. I'm telling you, I didn't think he was that tall.
I could put on Tim's and then I could be, people think I'm 6'3". So. But he's not. Somebody Google it real quick. Somebody, I just need to know. Brad Pitt.
Googling that shit right now.
Brad Pitt is not 6'4".
He's 5'11".
Oh, he must have some high heels on. Because I'm 5'11". He looked taller than me when I was
Tom Cruise is 5'7" though.
Yeah.
And Leonardo DiCaprio is 6 feet, and George Clooney is 5'11".
Oh, I stand corrected. I could have sworn though he looked tall.
Yeah.
I'm
like
Maybe he was on the step. Maybe he was on the
step. So then Tom Cruise is probably not even
5'7".
Maybe he's
not.
He's
5'7". Tom Cruise is 5'7".
Yeah, I know. Sometimes when you Google the heights, that's not their real height.
That's true.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's their publicity height?
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, I get you. Yeah.
A lot of them do that. I do know when they did Interview with the Vampire, that movie, Brad Pitt and him, they had to fuck around a lot with apple boxes and angles because they said Brad Pitt looked like he towered over Tom Cruise, so they had to shoot certain kind of ways so he didn't look like he was towering over him.
That's a classic movie, man. That's one of my favorite movies, man.
I watched it too many times. Go back from whence you came. Yeah.
I'm about to peep that this weekend. Then I haven't seen it in a long time.
And they got a TV show. On AMC Plus with a brother in it.
Oh yeah, how is it? Anybody saw it?
I saw it. It's cool.
It's cool.
A lot of homoerotic shit going on, but it's cool.
Tristan, what that means? I dropped out. I don't know what that means.
Okay. All right. This is what I think about this whole conversation. I think men are I think
they rate
men
shit on
have
a
an
curve.
issue. Exactly.
They rate
Right.
shit on a curve. That's why I laughed when when I saw it. All men
Right.
rate shit on a curve.
Right. But they also try to make everything cumulative, where they say I did this from day one,
Right.
and it leads up to here. So the more that they add, right, being complacent, they keep going down, as you see.
Right.
And when it hits zero, you get divorced. Where the
Right.
women are a stepwise function. They're like, we are not continuous. You need to go up every level. Something new needs to happen. You need to stay more engaged, blah, blah, blah. That's how I'm looking at it. It's simple math. Fellas, stop holding on to what you did day one. We all watch sports. They always say in every contract, what have you done for me lately?
Honestly, I think that kind of mentality that women have, I think it's important, and I'm in full support of that. Because, as I said before, and I told you, Jen, any woman that's willing to accept you when you're only 50% or even 40% of what you, excuse me, if you're only moving at 40 or 50% of what you are, if she's willing to accept you at that level, that woman is a detriment to your potential. She is a detriment to your livelihood. You should associate yourself with a woman and people who will always keep you on your toes, because it's easy to fall into traps. It's easy to fall into routines. It's easy as men to become complacent, especially if the worst thing to happen to a man is to constantly win. Because one day you're going to be in a situation where you didn't see that southpaw coming, and then you're gonna be reminded what it feels like to lose. And a lot of times, you know what I mean, some men bounce back from that, some don't. But you have to constantly you have to constantly always think about the next mountain to climb. I'm always like that. There's always a new mountain. There has to be a new mountain, man. Because if there's no new mountain, that means that you've given into the concept of dying.
Damn. Well, on that note, gentlemen, this has been another real one. Very funny. Okay. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for your support. Thank you for never throwing $1 in my super chat. I appreciate you much. Tristan, you could take us out. Out of here.
Because you. All right, I found something real quick. Okay, for you people who cannot focus on themselves, starve your distractions, feed your focus. Okay, do it the other way. All right, just do it that way.
There you go.
I love you all. Class is dismissed.
Good night, guys. Hi, Damien.
Good night.
Coming through Geronimo saying, I see y'all tomorrow, maybe. I don't know.
Good night.
Let's see. I'll let you guys know. All right, guys, that was another episode. If you're still in the room for any strange reason on this amazing night, because it's amazing because you're still alive, you still got air in your fucking lungs, so it's amazing, okay? Suck it up, Buttercup. Anyway, if you're still here, hit that like and subscribe if you were just watching, okay? I have the dopest panels on YouTube. I don't care what nobody says. So hit that like and subscribe for me. Don't forget, I am on the block with Jen everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Gmail. Mama's tired right now. And on Cash App if you're catching the replay. All right, guys, I will see you mañana. Leave me a comment, too, in the comment section. A thumbs up, a happy face, a wave, because it helps me in the algorithm. Muchas gracias. Buenas noches. And I'm out. I got a steak waiting for me.